that you'd think would be more of the Danforth. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just in terms of vibe, like.
Probably.
But whatever. History's, you know.
Have you been to History before?
Yeah.
You saw Modest Most there, right?
Yeah. Well, speaking of things that should have been at the Danforth, like it's just a huge, like, it feels like bigger people should be there. Like, I don't know.
I saw Eric Andre there. That's the only show I've seen
funny.
at History so far. Yeah.
Oh,
it was a good time.
I've been a bunch of times.
Feet are tangled up.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jordan.
That's okay. I'm free.
All right. Okay. How do we start?
I don't know.
You got anything, Jordan? Yeah, you got anything
I only have
saved up?
stupid shit.
Well, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
No, it's obnoxious. I'm going to be serious today.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We got to have a big Jordan reveal.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, okay, we'll paint a picture for the listener, all right? There's famous Mexican actor Eli Wallach wanders into frame, and then the title card, a little scroll comes up saying he's the ugly one.
Yep.
And then same with Lee Van Cleef, he's the bad one. And then Clint Eastwood, finally the good one. And which one of the three of us is which? Should we get that out there now?
Who's the good, who's the bad, and who's the ugly?
I'll just put it out there. I'm okay being the ugly one. If you want to be good and you want to be bad,
I think I'll be bad.
you want to be bad.
Oh,
all right.
I can't be the good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I was going to say Alex is would have to be bad or ugly. He can't be the good one. But if you want to be the bad one,
Do you want to be the good?
I'm okay.
no, not really. I'd rather be the ugly one.
I'm okay being ugly.
You're okay being ugly?
I'm okay being
I don't
ugly.
really want to be bad. I'll be bad. I'll be.
You
Wait, no.
wanna
You'll
be
be.
bad?
Yeah, sure. You want to be bad? I'll be good. Go ahead.
You'll be good.
Yeah.
I'm bad.
All right. Great. Okay. Okay.
Is this the intro, or are we setting something up?
No, this is the intro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Jordan.
Hello.
Jordan
Making
back
his
from
triumphant return.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm back.
Last time we had you on, we were covering another classic Western, Shanghai Noon.
That's true.
Is that
I
the
was
last
on
time
many
we had-
times.
That
That
was
was
not the
my
last
first
That
time.
was the last time Jordan was on.
No, really?
Shanghai Noon
true.
and Nights.
That's crazy.
Shanghai Noon, yeah, which is really heavily influenced by the Dollars Trilogy. Like, there's the guns. They have the same. They shoot
Yep.
the same types of guns.
Yeah.
And they wear similar hats.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the influence is clear.
Oh, definitely.
And when
The
they're coming up
sets
with
seem
fake
similar.
names.
Yeah.
And Owen Wilson is like, you be Lee Van Cleef.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
See? Yeah.
It all comes
One
together.
of the most influential
You
movies
be
ever
Klaus
made.
Kinski.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's his name again? Don Julio in that movie?
His name
Juan
is
Wild.
Juan Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait
With
to
Klaus
listen to those
Kinski as Juan
episodes.
Wild.
Oh yeah, they're coming.
I'm just gonna
They're
guess.
coming.
I'm just gonna act like I know the running jokes of this series. And
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if do we have any?
They're exactly what you would expect them to be.
Yeah, they're just imagine the absolute scraping the bottom of the barrel, and that's exactly what it is.
Max had a good bit last time about referring to Lee Van Cleef as Chief Cleef.
Chief Cleef, yes, yeah, which was better than me saying Lee Van Cleef, which is just
tired,
It's just
yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, Chief Cleef. Yeah, well done.
I mean, speaking of trendy rap music, how many times have you guys listened to the new Playboi Carti album? I Am Music.
Let me take a look. I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh, really?
Maybe I'll open
Yeah.
up. I opened up Twitter today and saw a really interesting tweet.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Here we
Let's
go.
go.
This is always a good way to fill time.
Yeah.
Twitter hour.
Yeah.
1 second.
You don't have to make music. Ben can cut it out.
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, we should do the theme as much as possible.
At MVG_Mewtwo King. I listened to 3 Cardi songs and had no idea what words were spoken.
That's part of the appeal of Playboi Carti.
Yeah.
There you
No,
go.
I have not listened to that. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay.
I've been too busy listening to Sinister Grift by Panda Bear and whatever the Dark Side album is called. I forgot. Who we're seeing later tonight.
We are. And the new Lady Gaga.
I hear it's good. I haven't listened to that.
Me neither,
I've
unfortunately.
seen the music video for Abracadabra.
I've been listening to the new Cootie Catcher.
Nice. So I listened to it also.
It's great.
Yeah, pretty cool. It's nice.
It is
Nolan should
really
be on
good.
this podcast.
I'd love to have Nolan on. Well, I thought like we did Oh Lucky Man, And I know that's Nolan's avatar on Letterboxd.
He followed me on Letterboxd recently.
There you go.
Come on the pod.
Yeah,
anyone who follows me on Letterboxd is welcome to come on the pod.
Yeah, there you go, listeners. All you have to do is find the Wizza on Letterboxd, give him the follow, and you're automatically invited.
Please.
Well, we're back with the final installment of the Dollars Trilogy, aka The Man with No Name, despite him having 3 different of names.
Joe, Blondie, Manco.
Yeah, Manco. Mango.
Did you talk about why he's called Manco in the second one?
We didn't. You're gonna hate these episodes. We didn't talk about anything interesting. We're fucking.
It's because he only fights with one hand.
Oh,
and that's what Manco means in Spanish or something.
There you go.
Yeah, because he keeps one hand on his gun. And so if you notice in that fight scene there's like a saloon
he does do a
fight,
karate chop,
and he only uses one hand to fight people.
Oh, okay, there you go.
So yeah,
one hand on the gun.
And the first one he's called Joe because like that old guy just starts going, "Oh Joe,
oh Joe," yeah, and Blondie because he's blonde. Yeah,
it all checks out.
Yeah. All right. How do we even start? I mean, this is I read your Letterboxd review, Jordan, and you're right. What film? Could you say it's a classic more than this? And he said maybe what, The Wizard of Oz.
The Wizard of Oz is like there's like a handful.
Citizen Kane.
Yeah, but even Citizen Kane, it's like it's funny because the Dollars Trilogy, for all its delights, doesn't have like a lot to dig into necessarily. You know?
Yeah, not in the same way.
Like Citizen Kane is like a rich text,
right?
The Dollars Trilogy is like, this is cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like a pulp paperback you just can't put down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alternate title, Pulp Fiction, perhaps.
Yeah. There is a certain director of that film
who's a big fan.
Yeah, who cannot shut up about these movies.
Well, cannot shut up in general.
That's also true. Yeah.
I mean, that scene, I mean, he remakes the
standoff.
The Lee Van Cleef scene.
Yeah.
No, the second scene in Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh, okay.
Where Lee Van Cleef shows up at the homestead. And he's standing in the doorway. There's the kid with the donkey doing the water. That's just he remakes that in Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah. And Reservoir Dogs ends with a Mexican standoff, right? Similar to this one. Not Mexican though, because it includes
this
zero
is not
Mexicans.
a Mexican standoff at the end of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. But I digress.
I disagree. It stars famous Mexican actor Eli Wallach.
And it's a standoff. Ergo.
And they're standing off.
Ergo.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll get into him because it's Tuco's movie, right?
It's Eli Wallach's movie.
Yeah, he's
more than I'd ever realized before.
Me too. So and I also want to maybe at the end of when we're kind of wrapping up a bit, do a very brief Sergio Leone filmography ranking because I watched the 2 that I hadn't seen and rewatched all of the other ones.
Which cut of Once Upon a Time in America did you watch?
Whatever the 4K one is, which I think is 165 minutes, probably somewhere around there.
Sorry, say it again?
I'm not sure exactly.
It should be like 4 hours long.
No, I don't think that version's available on home video.
Oh.
It's whatever version is available.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah. It was, you mean Once Upon a Time in America?
Yeah. That's what I said,
okay. Sorry. No, I was thinking about Once Upon a Time in the West. Yeah, I watched the not the newest, longest one, but the one that is the one before that. Mm-hmm. So it's the proper version, but not the one that has the stuff that's like unrestored scenes where the quality drops out. I haven't seen that one yet,
right.
But I'm sure it's also really good.
Probably.
So we can talk about that too, and very briefly, Colossus of Rhodes, which is
a very whatever movie.
It's not good. So, do you want to do a quick roundup first?
It's been a while since we've hung out.
Yeah, we can do the weekly movie roundup, or for Jordan, the monthly.
Well, I actually wrote a list of every film I've seen since the last time I was.
I would love to hear it. Yeah, let's go.
Howdy, partner. Reach for the sky.
Toy Story's done. We're never doing it again. Take that back.
That's generic cowboy talk. Who wants to go first?
We will leave Jordan for the last because he's got a big list.
Sure.
I'll try to be brief.
Yeah. I won't mention the Sergio Leone one.
Did we all see Mickey 17?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you talked about it?
Let's talk about it. No.
Okay.
Yeah. What did you think?
Mid-key 17.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I found it pretty obnoxious. Like There's a lot of stuff in it.
A lot of ideas. A lot of cool looking stuff.
Robert Pattinson did. I like him a lot.
He's fine.
I think he's really good.
Yeah, I think he is good. I love the sexual menace of the alpha Mickey.
Why does he become so alpha so quickly though, when all the Mickeys previously were kind of more meek?
I think the thing I took away from that is that you're being told that it's always the same person and they're getting their memories re-uploaded and it's seamless. And then as soon as there's two existing in the same space, you realize, oh, that's not true. Okay. Like every single one of these is like an individual dying.
Because the only other Mickeys we see are like, we only see them briefly before they die. We don't ever know if they're actually like as goofy as Mickey 17 is.
That's fair, yeah. Mark Ruffalo and Toni Collette didn't really work for me. I wasn't really into their performances and where they were going with it. The whole sauce thing it just felt like a joke that didn't really land, but it kept being made.
I thought the most unbearable scene in the movie was the dinner scene when they started singing, and I thought, oh, you like this isn't funny enough. And because it's not funny enough, it's really like excruciating.
Yeah.
And I thought the libbed out Trump stuff was laying it on pretty thick. I think it's got its heart in the right place, for sure, but it didn't offer a lot of like texture to the movie, and it feels a little bit Alec Baldwin level, like
it felt SNL. Sloppy. It was kind of all over the place.
It's a real mess of a movie.
It is a mess.
Yeah. I enjoyed sitting there and watching it for the like 2 hours it was on screen.
Yeah.
I was never thinking like I wish I was watching something else, but I was thinking I wish this was better.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely. Yeah.
And
can you imagine if it had come out like it didn't get delayed, and because he gets the Trump assassination Gray's bullet thing, right? That's crazy.
But I have a theory that they were like, how do we make it more obvious that this is Donald Trump? And then the assassination failure happened. It's like, we need to get Ruffalo in for reshoots.
Yeah.
I think this is what people are going to realize, that this is Donald Trump if we do this.
Yeah.
It felt to me that maybe there was like an original longer cut that got whittled down into this, maybe by like studio request or something. Because like it had the thing where like plot threads coming in and out of focus, but not necessarily in like a charming Coen Brothers way, in a bit more like haphazard, again, like messy way.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I didn't find myself all that taken by the visual style of the film.
No.
In a way where I think the idea of spending another 30, if there's a longer cut, the idea of spending another 30 minutes staring at that spaceship or at that snow planet and like with those characters, none of that appeals to me very much. I don't know how much could be saved through expansion.
Well, I thought maybe like some of the themes that they seemed like they were building towards, or some of the plot threads, like the whole loan shark thing, might have been fleshed out a bit more. But
that stuff was that stuff was bad.
Honestly, it feels like a couple rewrites away from being a better movie.
Yeah.
I know he wrote it himself, right? Like,
it's based
he's
on
the
a
only
book.
credited screenwriter.
It's based on a book called Mickey 7. They had to
10 more.
Yeah, 10 more when you come to Hollywood, baby.
It just like lacks sharpness. So many scenes feel like a real drag.
Yeah.
Like he shows up, spoilers.
Yeah. Spoilers.
He shows up to make the deal with the alien mama, like, we'll bring you back your baby and you won't kill us. And it's kind of treated like we're learning that this is why the aliens are circling the ship.
It's like, of course.
Yeah. You don't need to spend so much time explaining that this is why the aliens are mad, because they kidnapped a baby.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. This is the thing we've seen before. It's not something that needs to be like dealt with in exposition or whatever.
You know what it kind of reminded me of, Ben, was Lightyear.
Yeah,
it's kind of giving Lightyear.
It is giving Lightyear. Yeah.
I'll say the design of the creatures was great. They were so cute.
They're like
just big roly-poly bugs.
They're
like
awesome.
water bears, tardigrades, right?
Right, water bears, yeah.
Pretty cool. I mean, I have often thought, what if those were big,
Yeah.
And then we got to see it. And now I'm thinking it's better that they're small.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. Like
some people are really enjoying it and
that's great.
Happy. All more power to them.
Yeah. I don't think I was invested in it enough to be like I'm disappointed by it because
I don't love Bong Joon-ho.
No,
I think he has
really.
3 pretty good movies.
Yeah, okay.
I think Memories of Murder is great.
I watched 100%. It after Mickey 17 to kind of
Yeah.
wash the taste out of my mouth.
Good movie, eh?
Great movie.
Yeah,
Great
and
movie.
I like Parasite and I like The Host.
Yeah.
Host's
I
really
think
good too.
Snowpiercer sucks.
I
like Snowpiercer.
I like Snowpiercer too.
I think
Snowpiercer is like a better version of this movie because Snowpiercer is also
Yes,
ridiculous
totally
and didactic and like cartoonish. And Tilda Swinton is giving a kind of version of these,
okay,
like a Margaret Thatchery version of Toni Collette and Donald Trump, Mark Ruffalo in this one.
Maybe the difference for me is being centered on Robert Pattinson's performance, which I really enjoyed.
Oh, sure.
Made it really like bearable to sit through
compared to Captain America.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's the same kind of thing where its heart is in the right place. Like,
yeah.
It's kind of like Anora in that way. Like,
Sure,
I liked watching a movie that was about you have to blow up the system. There is no saving this, you know? Or Anora being like, you can't actually, like, there's no such thing as transcending above your class. Like, the upper class will never accept you.
Yeah.
And you have
there
to
is
forget.
no golden ticket.
Yeah. And,
yeah.
like, but it's the same. It's also the same as Anora. I don't know if I think it's a good movie.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
All those, and here, maybe my biggest problem with Snowpiercer is the action scenes kind of suck.
Yeah, they're not great.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Me neither, but I remember thinking it was really fun. It's really stupid.
It's on a train.
Yeah, and then I guess I haven't seen his movie Mother, which I heard is good, and I haven't seen
a long time ago.
Barking Dogs Bite, which I think people think is whatever. So
that's his like dry run. That's his, that's the reputation it has. Is like, oh, you can see he's going to be a better filmmaker.
Yeah,
but he's not there yet.
Yeah,
but I haven't seen it. I'm just regurgitating other people's opinions right now.
Yeah,
that's all we do.
That's all we do. Yeah, this is the Received Wisdom cast. Yeah. What else, Alex?
Okay, so way back after we watched Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, the next movie I saw, I remember this night. I had a night I was like, I'm going to put on something that I'll fall asleep to with that purpose, right? Made the mistake of putting on the director's cut of Amadeus on the Criterion Channel. 3 hours long. Could not fall asleep because it was so damn engaging.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's such like, and you know, it was, I think, around the time of the Oscars. Like, it might have been the night before the Oscars.
Right.
And it just made me think like, oh man, you know, big lavish productions can be super engaging, can be like, you know, smart and entertaining and not dumb and stupid. And just imagine if the Oscars was full of nominees of like that caliber. Like, they don't have to be like high art films. Yeah, but they could just be like good, engaging adult fare.
Yeah. I think one of the things I love the most about Amadeus is how unafraid it is of its own camp qualities.
Totally.
Definitely.
Tom, is it Hulce?
Hulce. If it's Tom Hulce, I'll eat my own shoe. But it might be. I love that. I think it's Tom Hulce.
He's great as Mozart. Like, obviously, F. Murray Abraham is having an amazing time as Salieri.
He's so pissed off.
Yeah,
it's
the patron saint of mediocrity.
Yeah,
like, it's so good.
He's like Tommy Lee Jones when he was having to act next to Jim Carrey.
I can't abide by your
I can't abide by your foolishness, or your buffoonery.
Yeah,
the poor man.
They're both so good. The woman who plays Mozart's wife, she's
Elizabeth
great
Barrett.
as well. Yeah,
she's great.
Just solid movie all around. Did not fall asleep during it. Was too engaged.
I'm for sure gonna watch that again. It's on the because I know that they just did a big restoration of the theatrical cut, which was harder to find because the DVD that came out was like the director's cut, which I don't know if it's considered better or worse or whatever.
There's debate.
The theatrical
about
one
that.
is the one that won all the awards and whatever. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see that. Yeah,
Milos Forman, right?
Yeah. I watched his like some of his earlier Czech films earlier or maybe last year, and they're really good. And then he made the Larry Flint movie and Man on the Moon with Jim Carrey again.
All masterpieces.
Yeah.
Then I watched Once Upon a Time in the West, which might come up in
we'll
our
bring
conversation.
It up. We'll talk about it.
I watched Julien Donkey-Boy, and it's my first time watching Julien Donkey-Boy.
Yeah.
And if you're expecting, you know, Harmony Korine weirdness, you're going to get that. what I wasn't expecting was some truly beautiful moments.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Heart-rending moments and an amazing performance by Ewan Bremner.
Yeah.
He really gives it his all in that film.
That is a really disturbing movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's upsetting and sad.
Very upsetting.
It's got Werner Herzog being a total loon.
Yeah, so he plays Julien Donkey-Boy's dad.
Yep, Julien Donkey father.
Julien Donkey dad.
And there's a scene with his like brother who wants to be a wrestler, and he's just spraying him down with the hose, and he's like, "You've got to be tough."
Yeah. Well, I feel like because Werner Herzog, there's that famous thing where he was like talking about seeing Gummo, and he was like,
"This is the greatest movie ever made."
He was like, "This is the best movie ever made," and he's like, the child is in the filthy bath, and I noticed there's a piece of bacon taped to the wall, and I cried or whatever. And I guess that's how he got cast. They're like, all right, you want to be Julien Donkey Dad?
How'd they get Ewan Bremner though? Like that felt really
I don't know. He was
confusing.
He was like around in the 90s, Train Spotting.
Of course, yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. It's a really good movie.
A great movie. It's like a hard sell, like to get on its wavelength, but if you can get there, I think it pays off. After the Oscars, which I kind of found underwhelming, I watched the 7th annual Tim and Greg Oscar special of On Cinema at the Cinema. These guys are so funny. I think that's the last one they made before because they're all on YouTube until they got taken off Adult Swim. And now they're on the High Network online.
Yeah.
This is the last one that's available for free on YouTube. It's so darkly funny. And it's like, speaking of tough sells, it's really hard to convince people to invest in the On Cinema at the Cinema universe.
Yeah.
But when you do, you get these giant fucking payoffs that like, it's just some of the funniest things you could ever watch. You would love it, Ben.
I know. I tried like a while back, and I was like, I like it a lot. I don't know. I just have to commit to it.
It is a commitment, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
it's multiple hours of stuff.
Many hours.
I've missed. Yeah.
It's just impressive how like expansive that whole thing is at this point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Multiple films
and how
multiple hour like performance art projects.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And these, annual Oscar specials, they do them every year. And this is the last one I saw. And it's the most unhinged of the ones that have come before it. It's Greg is dressed as Jack Nicholson era Joker the whole time. It's so funny. Anyway, I watched Dancer in the Dark.
Oh yeah, you're really on the Julien Donkey-Boy Dancer in the Dark.
I'm in the Dogma 95 collection on
you know,
Criterion.
and I say bring it back. Bring it back.
Let's make a Canadian Dogma film.
Sure. Okay. I looked at the like list because there's like the official ones, and then there's the ones that are like in the style of Dogma 95.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there is a Canadian one. There maybe is one, but we should do it. You're right. And let's follow it really strictly.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Because even Lars von Trier breaks the rules in most of them.
Totally. I don't think Dancer in the Dark technically counts as one.
No, it doesn't.
But Bjork infinitely, like I think in you were talking about Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me, and you were talking about the passion of Laura Palmer.
Yeah.
Dancer in the Dark is really the passion of Bjork.
Yeah.
And
because she was literally being tortured by a madman.
But it's an amazing performance, and it's, I was watching it and I was just like, obviously it's melodramatic and very manipulative to make you feel shitty. But then I was like, isn't all musicals kind of, try to manipulate you with literally the music, but this one just has some of that, show-stopping bombast stripped away. So you're just left with like this video footage of people singing and dancing, and then this infinitely bleak story about a Czech immigrant.
Yeah.
It's move over, Wicked.
Yeah, I think as far as his like torture porn movies, I prefer that one to Breaking the Waves.
I haven't seen
the
that.
Waves?
I haven't seen it.
No.
I don't know. I just kind of pissed me off. Like the ending is. I won't spoil it because it's really quite something. Okay. I was just like, fuck off, Lars. I hate you.
Sure.
I wanted to throw my popcorn at the screen. It's just so. It's anyway. Yeah.
I watched The Conversation, which I know is one of Ben's favorite movies.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Was that when Gene died? Is that a Gene Hackman tribute watch?
It was weeks later.
Okay.
But yes. For all intents and purposes,
it
yes.
Counts.
For all intensive purposes.
Yeah, it's actually for all intensive purposes.
Yeah. You said for all intents and purposes.
That's
for all intensive purposes.
You guys pulling one on me?
We're going to have to nip this in the butt and move on.
What's the real goddamn saying, guys?
We're nipping it in the butt.
Don't make me.
We're going to have to give you a little bite on the ass.
It's butt. Listen, in lamest terms.
I could care less.
That's good.
You know what I liked most about it? Obviously, it's a great surveillance thriller from back in the day, paranoia movie. But I love the scene of all the dorky surveillance guys going back to Hackman's to party after the convention.
Yeah.
That was so much fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, did one of them tap him or something? Like, is something insidious going on? But
yes.
Great stuff.
He gets so angry when they reveal the pen thing.
Yeah.
That sort of shit happens at the hotel all the time. Not the surveillance, but the conferences of like various weird organizations. And instead of going back to like his loft, they go up to our hotel room and just cause trouble for everybody. Yeah. Like all the just really weird companies. You're like, all these people work in like the sand and gravel industry, and they all get wasted, and they're all like, they all have weird, they're all, you overhear these conversations.
Want to snort sand?
Yeah, it's all shit like that. They're all like, I got some really primo sand back in the room. And you're like, wait, what does that mean? Anyway.
Then I watched Memories of Murder. We can all agree that's a far better Bong Joon-ho movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Check that out. Party Girl with Parker Posey. Kind of like
I really want to see that.
Flimsy 90s comedy that really runs on Parker's charm, which luckily she has infinite charm and aura.
Yeah.
But like if you're in the mood for that, why's Jordan? Are you farting?
No.
Okay.
No.
Say it.
Say it.
It's nothing. I don't want to. Keep going.
Jordan thinks that Parker Posey's charm is finite.
No.
It's a fossil fuel.
Yeah.
I love Parker Posey.
Me too.
And it's got that look of a really, like kind of roughshod 90s indie movie, but that can be charming if you're in the right headspace for it. Mm-hmm. Maybe don't watch it, Jordan.
Uh-oh.
Then I watched Juror number 2.
My number 2?
Did I skip number 1?
What? Sorry?
I watched Juror number 2.
Oh, sorry. I thought
you watched Ben take a shit.
Yeah. You looked at my chamber pot after a bad night. I was like, oh no, that's so embarrassing.
I don't think I liked it as much as I know both you guys might like it. To me, it was a pleasant watch. I watched it with my mom. And
good mom movie.
Great mom movie. But it was... you're just missing, some pizzazz. It felt very workmanlike to me, but in a totally pleasant but not extraordinary way.
Can I offer my feelings on Juror number 2?
I would love that.
And that workmanlike quality.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah,
that's the Clint special.
It's the Clint special, but it also, I think, once about 3/4 of the way through, the film takes a bit of a turn. And starts gearing up for an ending that has so much going on, and the workmanlike quality kind of like lays bare just how complex the little puzzle of the ending is, and then it just makes you sit and deal with it with like no distance between like there's no like metaphorical space between you, the viewer, and the ending that's being presented. And I find it's so comfortable with this lack of resolution and ambiguity and these like unsolvable questions about the nature of the legal system, the nature of guilt and culpability, the nature of like seeing and being seen. And that is, I find the elegance of that it's deeply interwoven with that workmanlike quality to me.
Okay.
Which I love it. I love that movie. I love thinking about it. And I found after I saw it, I just couldn't stop thinking about it.
Well, Nicholas Hoult,
Hottie.
What a year.
Think about how good it must have felt for him when he's like, you know what? I have this family. I love my family. Have to do right by my family and protect my family. And sorry, this guy's got to go. And I mean, I got this family. I mean, this guy was an asshole. He's sitting at home with his lovely family. He's looking at his family and he's like, I did so good for my family. Knock, knock, knock. Uh-oh. And then it's over.
That's the ending of the movie.
That's the ending of the movie.
So good.
It's great. Yeah. And the look she's giving him too, right? Because it's just kind of like, yeah, like you're right. Those ambiguities are great. Like it's almost like a resigned kind of like, well, because oh God. And the scene on them at the bench, right? I mean, yeah, with the like scales of justice and everything.
Totally.
But right. And he's basically just like, listen, I win, you lose. Like I did the right thing and I'm going, and that's the end of that. Fucking idiot. But
yeah, it just didn't hit me as hard as I guess it hit you guys, but that's okay.
That's okay.
It is okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Speaking of workmanlike, and I believe you used the word elegant, Jordan, last night I actually saw the film Black Bag.
Oh, great.
The latest
I really
Steven
want to
Soderbergh
see,
and David Koepp collaboration. And guys, let me tell you, I really liked it.
I heard it's really good. Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. I felt a lot of tension. I didn't really know anything going in. I think I saw the trailer once, but it's a bit of a slow burn, but it does ratchet up the tension. And it's just got like a lot of fun little weird, quirky elements to it. Like there's a whole like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf-esque dinner scene. And then, I don't want to get into spoilers or anything, but everyone in this like little intelligence agency it's just like an incestuous little pod of people. It's I had a lot of fun, and I think I don't know, like Soderbergh and Koepp, what a team. I haven't seen
Soderbergh.
I haven't seen Presence, but
well, that's the thing, because his screenplay in Presence is like really bad, I think.
Oh, really?
The filmmaking is good, but the screenplay like is, I think, kind of silly.
The script was good. It really doesn't like hold your hand or like pander to dumb audiences or anything, which is nice.
David Premium Rush Koepp.
David Jurassic Park Koepp.
I don't think so. I think Premium Rush is what he's known for. Yeah.
Okay. I was just because we covered Jurassic Park.
Premium Rush, of course, he directed. So it's the full Koepp. It's the auteur Koepp.
Koepp 1 2 3. Koepp 1 2.
Koepp.
And,
David Patty Chayefsky Koepp. That's what I was thinking the whole time.
And great supporting cast, including our friend of the pod, the Praetorian Jack.
Oh, yes.
It's really funny to see him.
That's great. Yeah.
He's got a great little moment near the beginning as well.
I'm going to try. Oh, man, I really want to see that.
I'm curious what you think.
I'm sure I'll really like it. I like all these Soderbergh things. Like even the ones that are stupid, I kind of like,
He makes engaging with his work really fun on just so like, I just want to see what he's up to. Level.
Exactly.
Like if it's good or if it's bad.
Yeah.
And he also has a real, I saw something somewhere of him talking about how he's like really committed to keeping films like 90 minutes.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, it's a breezy 90 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like he has all these formal rules that he sets for himself, and he's always experimenting. So it's just fun to just see what he's up to.
Yeah, it's so rewarding, like to follow that career.
I hope it makes money, because it costs $50 million. I don't see it happening, but we just need more movies like this.
Everyone's too busy staying at home watching the new Netflix film from the Russo brothers, The Electric State.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen that yet?
No, I have not seen The Electric State.
Do you want to have a watch party?
I would love to watch it with you, because I every now and again, I mean, they make, I think, exclusively bad movies, including You, Me, and Dupree, which, you'd think would be pretty harmless, but it's actually really bad. And the Gray Man and what's the other? Oh, Cherry. Like there are other Netflixy ones that like seemingly don't exist, came and went, like allegedly, however many millions of people watched it. I don't know anybody personally who's seen it, but this one looks like so bad that I think it might be worth watching. It just looks really crummy. Like, and the
Crummy's
fact that it costs
$320 million budget.
Exactly. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, we should watch it. You're right.
Yeah, we should.
Screw Dark Side.
Yeah.
Screw Nico Jar.
Yeah. Whatever. He doesn't need our money. I mean, he already has it. We already have the tickets.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't matter if we go or not.
Yeah. We should skip the concert and watch The Electric State, starring Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown.
That's a great
And Woody
idea.
Harrelson as Mr. Peanut. What's the one? What is it about you? Anyway, whatever. Okay. All right.
That's it for me.
All right. Very quickly, I promise. A couple of older romantic comedies. The Goodbye Girl, with which Richard Dreyfuss won the Best Actor Award, beating Woody Allen for Annie Hall, giving a actually quite similar performance.
But who else did he beat? Someone really good that year. Like, Annie Hall is Woody's good in Annie Hall, but there's another one that's I'm sure everyone was good that year. 77, right?
Mark Hamill is Luke Skywalker.
Annie Hall beat Star Wars. It's just really. There's definitely one good one, but Richard Dreyfuss is like really charming in it, but it's just like it's kind of an annoying movie. Yeah, it's Richard Dreyfuss, Woody Allen for Annie Hall, Richard Burton for Equus, Marcello Mastroianni for A Special Day, and then John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah. That's come on.
That would have been great.
I almost feel like it's a shame. I don't know, actually, because
I know what
that
you mean.
movie gets like people just forget what that movie's actually like.
Yeah,
and then you watch it, and it's so bleak, and his performance is so good. Yeah. It's become such a caricature of itself, and he's become a caricature of that performance.
What?
But when you
don't say that.
But when you watch the movie,
and it's really good.
Yeah, he's like he's excellent in it.
It might have been a thing where they're like, oh, this is his first thing. He's young. We'll give him something else. And then pretty much, I don't think he got another nomination till Pulp Fiction, right? So,
wow.
But yeah, well, that would have been great. It is funny, Richard Dreyfuss beating Woody Allen for kind of variations on a similar performance. Anyway, whatever. Not a bad movie, but not great. Once Upon a Time in America, The Colossus of Rhodes. We will talk about those later. I rewatched A Matter of Life and Death, one of my favorite movies, which I like to watch from time to time.
What the fuck's A Matter of Life and Death?
Paul and Pressburger movie.
Emelad, as they say. Emelad.
Emelad. You'll just watch it. Okay, it's great. You know The Red Shoes, right?
Right,
Red
yeah,
Shoes?
classic.
It's one of their other fantastic movies.
Gotcha.
It might be my favorite of theirs. I don't know. Another like romantic comedy from the late 70s, early 80s. It's My Turn, which I thought was okay. It's from directed by Claudia Weil, who did Girlfriends, which is a really good movie that recently got a Criterion release. And this movie like bombed, and then she never really got to make another movie, which is deeply unfair because it's not bad. And it stars Jill Clayburgh, who I really like. And then Once Upon a Time in the West, we'll talk about that. Mickey 17, we already did. On the same day of Mickey 17, I was thinking new releases, numbers, Mickey 17, Seven Veils.
Oh.
The Adam McGowan movie.
Because I saw the actual opera he did of Salome.
I wish I had seen it. Yeah, because
now he made a movie about making an opera of Salome?
Yeah, and what if the making of it was like a psychosexual Toronto set?
I'm sure it was.
Fever dream. And what if instead of me being Adam McGowan, I was Amanda Seyfried? So, okay, I don't think I've seen an Adam McGowan movie since Chloe, the last Seyfried Egoyan Toronto collaboration. Because in a sense, Toronto is like another character. So I missed like all the bad ones, right? Like I don't think anything he made in between then and Chloe really has any reclamation or secretly it's good fans. Like I don't think so. And so everyone's like, this is such a return to form, and I'm like, yeah, like I skipped all of them, so I guess it is. I thought it was pretty good. Like it's a little corny. Like a lot of his movies are, even his good movies are kind of corny. Like Exotica is corny, right? Yeah, I don't know. I kind of have been getting into opera a little bit, like talking with my friend Jardana, who's an opera singer. We're going to go see Salome when I go visit her in May in New York.
Great opera.
Really cool. Yeah.
I'm an aficionado.
And so I thought it was good. Like you should both see it. It's a return to form, allegedly. I don't know if that's actually true or not.
I'll catch it on Crave.
Catch it on CBC Gem. It's just funny that it came out in it was at TIFF in 2023 and it took a really long time to come out. But it's worth it. It's good. Jordan, I know I think you talked about Dragon Slayer before. You know that one? Mm-hmm. The Disney one?
Yeah, with Vermithrax.
Yeah, Vermithrax pejorative.
The greatest name for a dragon. Yeah. Vermithrax pejorative.
Pejorative?
Vermithrax pejorative is the name of the evil dragon. Yeah. And the movie is pretty good, like generally speaking. but the specifically like the effects, like the dragon effects are like amazing. It's all like practical giant dragon, and then for some of the shots where it's moving, I think it's all go motion, which looks like really good.
Yeah.
It makes me wish Jurassic Park was all go motion.
It's a Disney movie, right? But it's got these elements to it that are a little bit more that are unexpected, I guess, for a Disney movie from that era.
Definitely.
It's a live action film, obviously.
Yeah.
I remember I watched it when I was young, and it's just like there's a couple scenes that are always in my head.
Yeah.
There's a human sacrifice.
Yes.
Where you don't expect the human sacrifice to actually happen.
No, it's pretty awful.
It's pretty awful.
Yeah.
And isn't there like a swimming scene with like some nudity in it?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe there is, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like some clothed, see-through cloth.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, something that would make an impression on you as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm not supposed to be seeing this.
Yeah. I haven't watched it. I haven't like revisited it since I saw it like a couple times as a young person.
Yeah. The effects are really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was pretty impressed by that. Like another spaghetti western, 4 of the Apocalypse, which is directed by
Sergio Leone.
No, oh my God.
Sergio Carbucci.
No, it's not Carbucci. No, Lucio Fulci. And it was really good also. Yeah, it's like from 1970, so after all these Dollars movies. But yeah, as you'd expect, like has 1 or 2 scenes of ludicrous violence. But it's actually a very sweet movie. And some great like 70s hippie songs on the soundtrack, which feel very out of place, but it's really good. The Boogeyman from the 80s, stupid, like video nasty. It's like an amalgamation of like 50 different horror movies together. Like there's a little bit of Exorcist, a little bit of Amityville horror, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's like it's like not its own thing. It's just a bunch of different little, like about a house that makes people kill themselves or whatever. I don't know. It's stupid. Okay. And then two real, like they shoot pictures, 1,000 greatest movies, knocking them off the list. And that's the real reason to watch these, is just knock them off that list.
Knock them off a list.
Knock them off the list. You can say, I've seen Alexander Nevsky, the Sergei Eisenstein film. You don't have to, no one's going to ask you a follow-up question. You don't have to talk about, propaganda or the Soviet montage or anything like that. You can just say, I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I'm familiar with it. And that's what it's all about. So I watched Sergei Eisenstein's Alexander Nevsky, which is really good. And
can you tell me about Soviet propaganda?
Yeah, of course. Well, this movie came out in 1938 and is must have really hit different back then for the Russian population because facing Nazi Germany, because their Soviet folk hero Alexander Nevsky kicks those Germans' asses back in the day. And honestly, I got pretty riled up. I was like, okay, who's our Nazi Germany right now in Canada? America, right? And I'm ready to fight. I'm ready. I've learned battle tactics from Alexander Nevsky that they've never seen coming.
Are you going to launch an offensive on America? No. I'm
going to defend my homeland, Mother Canada, by any means necessary. The movie, okay, it's actually really cool. I know you and Devin saw Seven Samurai recently, right?
Yeah, we did.
I feel like a lot of the battle scenes in all the Ridley Scott movies, like even some in like Kurosawa, any sort of epic medieval battle scene, like there owes a bit of a debt to Alexander Nevsky. It's really incredible. There's like a 30-minute long battle sequence, the battle on the ice, that's set to music by Prokofiev, right? And a lot of it is like Mickey Mousing, like it's actually like edited towards it, like all cut together, and it's incredible. It's really, really cool, and it riles you up. All
right,
yeah.
I'll watch it.
Yeah,
I'll join you in the struggle.
Yeah.
In the foxhole.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then Duck You Sucker, which we'll talk about later. And
is that on the 1,000 They Must Shoot Movies list?
No, it's not. It's not.
I would have been surprised.
No, only. Do you want to guess which Leones are?
Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yep.
Once Upon a Time in the Ugly.
Yep.
Once Upon a Time in America.
Yep. That's it. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's it. Okay, the Roberto Rossellini, The Taking of Power by Louis XIV, which you may remember, Alex, from our Criterion collection.
We'll get it. We'll finish it one day.
the Quaking of Pussy.
We'll finish it one day.
We'll never finish it.
We'll finish it.
We'll have to reshoot it. We're going
to finish it.
No, we're going to reshoot it.
There's no need.
There is need.
The footage is great.
No, but we have to reshoot it. We'll talk about this later.
We don't.
We'll talk about it off mic. This is the Rossellini, like the latest Rossellini movie I'd seen, and it's what are you doing?
I'm trying to see if the listeners can hear this.
Oh, okay, great.
I'm turning for those listening. I'm turning on my cell phone flashlight and I'm strobing it at the microphone. Let me know if you can hear this.
I think this means I've been talking for too long, so I'll just pass it to Jordan.
Oh no!
It's an Adrian Brody moment.
Yeah. Anyway, it's really good.
I hate him.
Yeah, he's
worst
awful,
speech of all time.
Terrible speech.
Awful.
I haven't seen any.
I love the move of. Can you stop the music? I have more to say. Maybe I'll think. Oh, I want to. Hey, live your dream. Live your dream.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to be an actor. It's so important what I do. It's so like important for you to hear me talk.
You talked about the Oscars on.
We actually didn't really, did we?
Well, no, because we've been getting so ahead. This is our first time recording since the Oscars happened.
Wow. Yeah, technically, yeah.
Wow.
But yeah,
we can't talk about it.
Really good time of the year for my uncle Theo and his automobile business, Theo's Cars.
Theo's Cars, yeah. They're flying off the lot.
Yeah, people are constantly accidentally landing on his website and Instagram page and buying cars without realizing
that's
it.
Great.
Yeah,
that's
Hashtag
great.
The Oscars leads to Theo's Cars.
Theo's Cars, yeah. Anyway, Taking a Power by Louis XIV, very good movie. You should watch it. He uses a lot of the principles of like neorealism, like, you know, real locations, non-professional actors, but turns it into a costume drama, and it's amazing. I was reading an essay about it, and they're like, you know, the lead actor who plays Louis XIV never acted, isn't a professional actor. He's an office clerk, and he gives this great performance. And I was like, yeah, that's right. Just like Ben Turnbull in Cherub.
Yeah, that's
he's giving a real Ben Turnbull in Cherub performance as Louis XIV. You know, like literally, he's reading. He couldn't remember his lines, so he's reading them off cue cards held outside of the camera. So everything he's saying, he's never looking at the person he's talking to, and he's saying it very flatly. And it works so well in the movie because it's like he's the king. He's just declaring these things, and you're just like, yes, like of course, king. Yeah. Anyway, and the details are like, it's one of the best costume dramas I think I've ever seen, and it's so simple. Like, yeah. Really, really cool.
Cool.
Yeah. Sounds I want to see all his other, these are all like TV movies. And this is, I think, probably the one people like the best, but he made a bunch, like Age of the Medici, and he made one about
Gift of the Magi.
Anyway, and so on. All right, Jordan, list every movie you've seen. This is already going to be our longest episode in a long time.
I was joking. I didn't make that list.
No, go.
Okay, well, I also have been working through the They Shoot Pictures list.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I went to see Flight Risk at the Carlton.
Do you think any Mel Gibson movies are on it? Like, it's possible Braveheart might be on it because there's some silly movies.
Directed by, I think, no.
Probably
right?
not. Yeah.
But
Mad
starring,
Max or something. Yeah, sure.
There's like, that's just cinema history.
It's true. You can't deny it.
And like maybe Braveheart just
you think
because it's a best picture winner.
There are certain things like Forrest Gump, for example, is on the list.
Yeah,
is that one of the 1,000 greatest movies ever made? I don't think so. But
1,000's a lot of movies.
1,000's a lot of movies. Yeah,
but there are lots of good movies.
Forrest Gump is really funny.
Yeah,
maybe not intentionally.
I went with Kenny to see Flight Risk at the Carlton.
Yeah, how was it?
It's you know it's a chamber drama. It's for most of the film, the vast majority of it, like a locked room thriller with 3 characters and then off-screen like characters that they're calling, you know, on a radio or something. And they have like a tidy little drama that they need to resolve where they're on an airplane and they're lost. And they've got a psychopath who was piloting the plane, and they've tied him up, and now he's in the back and threatening to break loose.
Mouthing off.
Yeah. And the mouthing off is where where you feel the Mel Gibson, Mark Wahlberg touch.
Of course.
And people went through this because this was a blacklist script, right? So people have access to the screenplay, and Mark Wahlberg's dialogue is like 90% really vulgar sexual assault jokes. right?
And is that not in the screenplay?
That's not in the screenplay. And you can just close your eyes and see Mel and Mark cackling like hyenas coming up with these on the set.
Sure.
That's the most off-putting stuff in the movie. It's otherwise just like it's that workman-like quality, but it doesn't amount to anything where, I think Juror number 2 amounts to actually a great deal.
Yeah.
It has a really awful CGI moose in the first 30 seconds.
I heard that.
That's awesome.
And that really sets the stage for like, I feel like I've rented a geezer teaser. Like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And Topher Grace is in it as the funny man, quippy guy. And he's just dreadful. Like maybe the worst performance I've seen in a movie theater in years.
I might have to watch this.
It's worth it.
Okay,
watch it.
I'll watch it. Yeah.
Because it's tidy. And then there's a little bit of the Mel Gibson gore at the very end when Mark Wahlberg's like prying a handcuff off of his hand. So he peels the skin off of his hand while getting the handcuff off.
Like Gerald's Game.
Yeah.
He gets
awesome.
degloved.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not a good movie. I said it's worth it. It's not really worth it, but it's seeing some shitty action movie at the Carlton that's like a little bit rancid was a really good time for me. There's one scene where Mark Wahlberg's legs are getting zip tied as he's unconscious by like the competent DEA there's like an FBI agent. And so Mark Wahlberg's getting his legs zip tied, his ankle zip tied, and Topher Grace is sitting there and he's watching this happen. He goes, "What is this, a pedicure?" Like that's the level of like, and he's doing that every 30 seconds. You can tell they got him into the booth. They're like, "This movie's too quiet. We need more of your quips." You know what? It's just awful.
That's great.
It's awful.
All right, I'll watch it.
I watched Made in Hong Kong, which is like one of the absolute classics of post handover Hong Kong cinema. So I think I've said this on this podcast many times, but so often it's really easy to watch Hong Kong films as a Westerner, and in that period from like 1980 till the year 2000, basically interpret everything as having handover. Having the oppressive atmosphere of the handover fear.
Yeah, of course.
And that's definitely part of many films, but that's just like part of them. And there's a lot that you can also focus on that people kind of skip over. That being said, Made in Hong Kong is a movie where the main character dreams about airplanes flying away and comes in his sleep.
Yeah,
like it's excellent.
I've been meaning to watch that. Yeah,
it really, really strong movie. Shot like guerrilla style, handheld on the streets. Beautiful, sad, angry film. I've been doing lots of like comfort watches. So I watched A Touch of Zen, which we've watched together.
Yeah.
And has real similarities to The Man and the Ugly.
Yeah, sure.
Although in the ways that they're different is that King Hu like has the spiritual aspect of his filmmaking, and the last like 45 minutes of A Touch of Zen is like the ending of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, it's a trip. Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It's really cool. Yeah.
Goodbye Dragon Inn, another comfort watch.
Oh, great. Yeah. I want to watch that again too.
Devin and I went to see Seven Samurai. Seven Samurai I haven't watched since I watched it once in my life.
Right.
On a laptop, right? On a DVD. I bought the Criterion DVD when it came out way back in the day and watched it on a laptop. And so I had memories of like images, memories of scenes, knew the structure. I've seen The Magnificent Seven many times.
Bug's Life.
A Bug's Life, yeah. So like that's kind of one of those films that's been thoroughly metabolized throughout all of cinema history. So you almost feel like you don't need to watch it to know everything about it. That being said, and it's like 4 hours. So there's a part of your brain that goes like, do I really want to commit myself to this movie?
Yeah.
But like not a single second of Seven Samurai is anything but a complete like blast.
Yeah.
Like every
awesome
moment of that movie is so utterly enjoyable. And I just like couldn't believe, like within the first 10 minutes, I was like, can the whole movie be this engaging?
Yeah.
And good. And it just no, that is exactly the experience I had. I saw it at the review not that long ago, and it was like a packed house too. And same with you, like I had seen it once before, probably in like early high school, maybe on like a DVD.
It didn't, moments you remember, but you don't. Isn't it? But watching it at a time where I wasn't really like aware of like how to watch like a film necessarily in the way that I am maybe more adept at now. And it was so interesting seeing it in a theater with like other people. You could tell there were a couple of people who were shifting around a little bit, who maybe weren't used to watching a movie that long, or even a Japanese movie, right? Or even a movie that old. I don't know. But for the most part, people were like so engaged, and you can feel it. You can feel the difference when people aren't, right? And it's a funny movie too.
It's very funny. People watching with an audience is really
people were
enlightening.
Laughing and having
it's
a great
so funny.
time.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
But also, and this like when we got out of it, one of the things Devin was saying was like you're watching the Seven Samurai, and it's like a fun adventure action movie, great action scenes, like really great characters, really high energy.
Yeah.
But you're also thinking like maybe this is going to lack some of the lyricism that Kurosawa movies, especially in his later career, develop. And it doesn't, right? Like by the end of that movie, there's all this stuff that he ties in with all those. I don't know. There's just like so many images, so much beauty to be found in that film.
I was talking to Devin about it. And he would mention you had both highlighted that scene where it's like the younger one in the grass, like with his lover or whatever, and like the specific camera move around.
Well, I tried to describe that in my Letterboxd review of that one. There's this handheld camera shot in that movie that is mind blowing, and I can't stop thinking about it because I've just never seen anything like it. And the movie's from the 50s, right? So you would figure someone would try. Yeah. Someone would try and fail. Like there's like Mad Max Fury Road, like moment for moment rips off a scene from Seven Samurai, right? Where like the best swordsman character, they're like, oh, there's like muskets. The bad guys have muskets. It would be really good if we got some. And the badass swordsman guy is like, oh, I'll go get some. And he like wanders off into the mist, and they're all like, what? And then he just comes back with muskets, right?
Yeah.
And Max does that in Fury Road when the bullet farmer is coming at them, right? And he just goes, I'll deal with this. And he walks off into the darkness and then comes back, and it's like, what happened?
That's right.
What happened out there?
Yeah, because it takes time too. Like it's, there's like, they're waiting for him. They're like, I guess he's dead. And then he comes back. Yeah.
There's a really funny documentary I watched about the Magnificent Seven where Lawrence Kasdan is talking about how brilliant it is that they recreated it's just so funny. Have you seen The Magnificent Seven?
Not in a long time.
I haven't. I've actually never seen it.
Okay, so like the character that's the analog for the brilliant swordsman, they're like, what do we do? Like everyone has guns, right? So how do we make somebody like the same as the best shooter or everything or something? And it's Jimmy Coburn's character, and it's like, oh well, how about he throws knives?
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
It's pretty funny. And then, of course, like the irony of the swordsman being like, he's like the baddest ass in the whole. He's like the greatest samurai who ever walked the earth, and he gets killed by a stray bullet from like a guy shooting blind. Like, right. And that scene where he gets shot and he just like chucks his sword. It's like so moving. And then, of course, that moment at the end when I forget the actor's name, but he's in many Kurosawa films. And
the older guy.
Yeah,
the guy who's in Ikaru.
He's in Ikaru. He's in Godzilla.
Yes.
He says, like, with this so much bitterness, right? After they've won, he goes, once again, we survived.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
it's so good.
Beautiful. Okay, Seven Samurai. What can you say? It's a classic.
What can you say?
Two more. Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country.
I really got to watch. Well, we just should do those on the show.
I think the
Star Trek
the original
movies?
series, the original cast Star Trek movies is so rewarding.
We'd have to do all of them.
Yeah.
We would have to do all of them.
They're great. You're doing Mission Impossible.
You can. We'll be announcing it at the end of the episode.
They're better than the Mission Impossible.
There you go.
You heard it here first.
Yep.
Star Trek VI has in all those movies, there's major arcs that run through the 6 movies, and then each movie has its own little story. Yeah. And one of the major arcs is like Captain Kirk being useless outside of the command of the the starship, right? So like in the first one, he's an admiral and he just sucks, and all he wants to do is bully his way back into the captain's chair, right? And then once he's in the captain's chair, it's like, well, he doesn't have a mission anymore. He doesn't have the 5-year mission. He's getting old, right? And in Star Trek 6, it's like in space, the Chernobyl explosion happens and the Soviet Union, which is the Klingons, are falling apart.
Right.
And so the Federation has to decide, hey, are we going to like open up and like incorporate the Klingons into the Federation? That's probably a good idea. Their culture is dying. They're falling apart. They need help. And Kirk is so vile and racist and out of touch. And Spock is giving there's this conference, right? And Kirk just like can't believe what he's hearing. And after everyone leaves, him and Spock have this standoff that's really bleak and upsetting to watch, right? Where Spock says, "Jim, their people are dying," and Kirk just says, "Let them die." And it's like awful. It's awful.
Yeah. We should. Okay, Alex, we got to do the Star Trek movies.
He's just like
come on, let's do them.
Yeah, it's so good. And that movie also has, at that point, you know that William Shatner understands his reputation as like a in terms of his delivery of dialogue.
Sure.
So like and it's overblown, right? He's a good actor. He can do dialogue normally, but you can see when he's deciding to lean into it, you know. And like in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, and Khan goes, "Kirk, you're still alive, old friend," and Shatner goes, "Still old friend."
I gotta say, I watched, never being like much of a Trekker, I watched First Contact when I was younger, and just remember being like totally engrossed in that movie.
Yeah,
like even as like a standalone film. How do you feel? You like First Contact? Do people generally consider it canon?
So I mean, it is canon.
It's all canon.
First Contact.
I remember it being really good.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I think there's legitimate problems that people have with it, and this is what differentiates it from the original series cast, is that the Next Generation cast films are all deeply like ideologically libertarian fascist, right? And that's so at odds with the ethos of the series and the ethos of the Next Generation movies, and the strength of the characters. Like Captain Jean-Luc Picard in that film becomes like a fascist action hero in the mold of John McClane or Dirty Harry, right? And it's bizarre.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's really weird that that's the direction they decide to go in those films. But I think that movie is a good time. I like it. It doesn't hold a candle to the original series movies. I think those are I think that's the height of Star Trek, is those 6 movies, and then Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, I like the Chris Pine movies.
Well, see, if we did
the
this
first one and Beyond, Star Trek Beyond is good.
Yeah, I never saw Beyond. Yeah, so if we did all the Star Trek movies, I mean, we'd just do them all. Like that's a lot of movies.
No, just do them
all.
It out. Just do the original cast,
which is 6, right? 6 movies.
Yeah, because they're all good.
But isn't the first Next Gen movie crossover with the characters of the?
Yeah, right? But it's terrible.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like you kind of gotta. I don't know. We can do whatever we want. And we are going to do James Bond one day, Alex, and we can split it up. We'll just split it up.
No, we're going to devote a year.
Start with the Lazenby movies, then move into the Dalton movies a couple of years later.
Yeah. No, what we're going to do first, we're going to do On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and then we're going to do the Craig movies. And then by that point, the new ones will come out starring Aaron Taylor Johnson. Who they haven't announced it. It's going to be. Oh no, Amazon took it, right? So now it's whoever the fuck. I don't know.
When that news broke, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I did watch Octopussy.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Octopussy is like one of the ones. It's the second last Roger Moore one, and
he's old.
It just you either want to watch one of the Bond movies that's kind of epochal, you know, like Goldfinger, The Spy Who Loved Me, you know. On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Sure.
But really what I want out of a Bond movie is like they've settled into a groove with this series or this actor, and they're just like knocking another one out. I just want to see a Bond movie where they're just like hitting all the marks of the formula, not trying anything.
Yeah.
Everyone's kind of over it.
What if
they assume they'll make enough money at the box office? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
like
No, so that
one's good,
it's
right?
the first Roger Moore one.
Oh, I didn't know it was
so
the first. I don't
that
think I've seen
automatically
it.
doesn't count because it's the debut of a new actor.
You're right.
And
that's the first one. Man with the Golden. Is that Man with the Golden Gun?
No, that's Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die. Right.
And it has a distinction because it is probably the most insanely racist Bond movie.
Right, because they were like, let's do a blaxploitation movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's qualifications to that because there's many insanely racist Bond movies, and maybe You Only Live Twice, where Sean Connery dresses in yellowface.
Yes,
is the most insanely racist one.
Yes, famous Mexican actor Eli Wallach.
Anyways, sorry. Okay, my last one, because this ties in a little bit. I watched Unforgiven last night.
Let's go.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Hell of a thing killing a man. Take away all he's got. Is it all he'll ever have or all he'll ever be?
Everything he's ever going to have.
Everything is fuck. Well, I fucked it up no matter what. Anyway, great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think one of the things that impressed me most, that just because I haven't watched Unforgiven in a long time, I had a huge Clint Eastwood. Like my childhood, I was obsessed with Clint Eastwood. And I watched all of them so much, right? And Unforgiven, I understood that it was dealing with his persona. I understood that it was like showing you the harshness and the brutality and like demythologizing the Western, right? I got all that, and I still watched it because I wanted to see Clint Eastwood shoot people. Yeah,
you know. Yeah.
So what I got, something that I guess I just like never really took in until this watch, is how like pathetic he is as a person. For the first like 3/4 of the film, how he's constantly sermonizing in the most like annoying like guy who just did like 12 steps and won't shut up, and obviously is like pretty shaky, and like you just gotta bear with it, you know, like that kind of thing.
You're right.
There's that scene where Morgan Freeman's character is trying to sleep, you know, and Clint Eastwood's just like on and on and on, like, remember when I killed that guy? Oh, it was so awful. And he's just like, yeah, well, you ain't like that no more, are you? And he's like got his head over, he's got his hat over his eyes, and he's trying to sleep. And he says that like 3 times, like, well, like I said, you ain't like that no more. Yeah, you know, he's rambling on and on and on, and he can't get up on his horse. You know, he can't like, his hogs are beating him up. You know. He's just totally pathetic in this way that I hadn't remembered. It's such a seriously brilliant performance. Yeah. And then once he decides he's gonna go killer mode, he becomes so demonically like he's terrifying.
Yeah, it's quite frightening. Yeah,
it's so unsettling.
Yeah.
You know, that famous moment, I had this like, because to me, this is what I watched for. I watched for that scene where he says, I'm coming out. I see anybody, I'm going to shoot him. I see anybody, I'm going to kill him. And then I'm going to kill his wife. And then I'm going to burn his house down. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, right. And watching it now, there's that amazing scene. It's like, it's one of the best shots maybe that he ever composed, where he's standing and the American flag is like billowing behind him, and it's like rain just like pouring down in the night. And he says, you better bury Ned right, or I'll come back here and kill every last one of you sons of bitches. Yeah. Right? And like oh my God, it's so evil. Yeah. It's like all the way back to High Plains Drifter, where he paints the town red, and he's like, like, I'm the devil. High Plains Drifter is like a revenge story, right? Ultimately, where he's like an avenging ghost, and the town has done such deep harm, right? And like he is a badass. He commits horrible sexual crimes in that movie, right? But like Unforgiven is, I mean, maybe the other best scene in the film is where they kill Johnny Boy, right? And he's like bleeding out from the gut, and they're trying to get him water, and the 3 like Clint Eastwood and the kid and Morgan Freeman are up on the hill, and they're just like, give him some water, we're not going to shoot. And you just like, they just sit here listening to him dying horribly. It's so bleak. And then Gene Hackman is in it, right? I did watch
for sure.
I watched The French Connection. I haven't seen that since I was a teen, and it's great. Gene Hackman, he's brilliant, and the film does this like really obvious but like important thing where it puts a character in it who's literally trying to write the mythology of the West.
Yeah,
and everywhere he turns, he can't do it.
Saw him on the stage.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's great.
Movie. Yeah,
it was great. That's why I went to go see the play. I was like, that's Unforgiven. But that's the closest I'm going to get to Unforgiven.
It's kind of brilliant because you get set up to see the Gene Hackman character as like ultimately a lawman, right? Mm-hmm. And when English Bob shows up and he's like, we have a no guns policy, he beats the shit out of him, and it's pretty upsetting, right?
Yeah, brutal.
And Saul Rubinek immediately bounces off of English Bob, like, you're not my Western mythic archetype anymore. Yeah. Now it's the lawman.
Yeah.
Right? And then
friendship ended with English Bob.
Yeah.
Now your best friend, Will Money.
Oh, yeah. Also, all that shit. Richard Harris is like a one scene in that movie, right? But all that stuff about like, why not shoot the president?
Yeah,
He's just going on and on. If you tried to draw your gun at a king or even a queen, you would find yourself too in awe of their majesty to go forth. But the president, why not shoot a president?
Yeah,
right?
That's so funny.
It's so funny. Yeah, he bounces off English Bob and attaches himself.
Little Bill, that's his name.
Yes, Little Bill.
Little Bill,
right?
Yeah. The lawman of Big Whiskey. It attaches himself to him, and at first you think, okay, well, like, this guy's annoying, and Little Bill's very serious, but he immediately starts telling his own story and trying to. He's like I'm going to construct my own mythic archetype for you now.
Yeah,
right, and
print the legend.
Yeah, and you kind of like are in a weird way disappointed. Like, I thought you're watching a thing. I thought you had more integrity than this little. Like, maybe you're like some kind of a fascist and an asshole, but like I didn't think you would like buy into this little sucker's bullshit immediately and right
away.
It's all obviously like so elegantly symbolized by he's constructing a house and it's a piece of shit.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's right. Forget about that.
Yeah.
He's
trying to build a house and he can't.
He can't.
Yeah. And then Clint Eastwood shows up at the end of the movie and murders everybody.
Yeah.
And then Saul Rubinek again, once Little Bill's like bleeding out on the ground, just like goes right up to him and he's like, so who do you shoot first? An experienced gunman will always shoot at the best gunman in the room, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like such a simple but like great way to deconstruct these mythic archetypes.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful movie. It's so sad.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like I the Oscars just happened, right?
Yeah.
That might be that might be my 5 like best picture winners,
Yeah, I
think it's the best one of the 90s. I think it clears Silence of the Lambs, which is maybe the other
I think
best
it's better
one.
than Silence. I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I after the Oscars happened, I actually went through and was like, okay, like on Twitter or whatever, like all the ones I'd seen and said whatever, good, bad, very reductive, like good, great, bad, shit, whatever. And I was looking at it and like, yeah, Unforgiven has got to be one of the best movies to ever win Best Picture. Like when you get back in the like 70s, obviously there's some really good ones, what like Godfather or shit like that. And then the further you go back, like when you go back to the beginning, like granted most of those I haven't seen, but there's some bullshit. Like Around the World in 80 Days. Yeah. I haven't seen that, but obviously that's some bullshit, right? But in the 90s, there's some good ones. And yeah, Unforgiven, I think by far is like, it's got to be one of the best.
I think like it's not until, it's not maybe No Country for Old Men is the next great movie to win after Unforgiven.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm not going to look it up, but let's just say yes.
I think Unforgiven's better than No Country.
I agree.
It's just a excellent film. Yeah. And okay, just to one last thing. I mean, there's so much you can say about Unforgiven, but in the Dollars movies, right?
Yeah.
It's just amazing. I'm sure you've talked about this, but how little effort it takes to establish. I say little effort. I mean how seemingly little effort it takes, because I'm sure, like, I don't know, a lot of work goes into making a movie. A lot of work goes into like being a human being. So Clint Eastwood just shows up on screen, and you think there's no effort going on here, right?
Exactly.
But
yeah,
like the persona and iconography is established so strongly that Eastwood and his collaborators like begin playing with like deconstructing that character really quickly.
Yeah.
You know, like in his directing, like Play Misty for me.
Yeah.
It's like, what do I do with this like macho character? How do I like how do you add nuance and texture to it? How do you deconstruct it a little bit? It's just interesting how forcefully he announces himself as a screen persona that like people immediately start going like, well, how do we like deal with this?
Well, yeah, it's like, so after these movies, and of course Unforgiven, to the last thing you see, right, to Sergio and Don, right?
Yeah.
Kind of brings a tear to your eye, especially after watching all these Sergio Leone movies, like, because they did have something of like a falling out a little bit after this movie. Like,
did you read any of the shit Sergio would talk about him?
Yeah,
in comparison to Charlie Bronson.
Yeah, that was really funny. So
really funny,
and Robert De Niro as well. He said for in Once Upon a Time in America. So basically, like, you know, we're talking about Good, the Bad, and the Ugly being like Eli Wallach's movie, basically, right? Like, in a lot of ways. And we in For a Few Dollars More, we were talking a lot about Lee Van Cleef, right? And how like Clint is a little bit more incidental in that compared to Fistful of Dollars, where he's like, you know, the guy, right? And then in I know that they were having a bit of friction, by the end of this movie, Clint was like, I don't really want to make any more Leone movies. He turned down Once Upon a Time in the West. We'll talk about that later, but like they were going to have like a little cameo at the beginning. Like the three guys at the beginning of that movie were going to be the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly guys. And Clint's like, I don't want to do that.
Thank God they didn't do that.
Yeah, it's a little cute, like, you know, a little cutesy. I don't know. And then, you know, he kind of went off and did his own thing. And like you say, like, obviously later in his career with things like Unforgiven, or in a similar way, White Hunter Black Heart, which is really good. You should definitely watch it. Is weird because he's playing like John Huston in all but name, and he's doing kind of a John Huston voice, which is like a little weird and doesn't always work. But it's very much this like, I'm going to play the most masculine guy in the room, who then is revealed to be like completely full of shit. Also, right? But like you say, at the beginning of his career, his directorial career, he's already doing it. Bronco Billy is not it's one of his earlier movies, and that's, you know, really like, well, here, you know, what if my cowboy persona was literally just a persona I do to make money, you know, on the cowboy circuit or whatever.
Or Don Siegel with The Beguiled.
Yeah,
you know?
I actually haven't seen it.
Oh.
I've only seen the Sofia Coppola one.
Okay.
Which is whatever.
I actually, I have to admit, it's hard for me. I actually haven't seen the Sofia Coppola Beguiled.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's a big
the two of us together, we've got it covered. We've got all the Beguiled covered. All right. Well, let's talk about The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Did you know that the theme for The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly has lyrics?
Oh, really? Tell me. Go ahead.
It's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Did you know that?
That's pretty good.
and then the other one too. What is that? The Ecstasy of Gold one, where it goes, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Pretty good. Thank you.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I don't speak Italian, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Il Bruno, El Buto, Il Ugo.
Yeah, the Ugo, yeah. I brought this up in one of the earlier ones, but there's a poster, like a lobby card thing I have for a Lee Van Cleef movie called The Big Gun Down, and like it's, you know, it's his starring, like, I don't know if it's spaghetti western or an American one or whatever, but the tagline is Mr. Ugly comes to town. And like, okay, first off, he's not the ugly one, but also like that's mean, you know. I think there is an American trailer where they're mislabeled, where he's the ugly, and anyway, whatever. We don't need to get into that.
Within the first like 5 minutes of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, you get two of the greatest shots of all time.
Yeah.
I think. The first one is the opening shot of the film. It's
totally.
So brilliant.
Yeah.
Of this vast landscape that's immediately turned into an extreme close-up.
It's so
of
good.
One of the gnarliest faces, right?
Do you know if that's
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, that's Clint. Do you know if that's Al Mullock? Because there's one actor who's in this, who's in a few of them, and his name's Al Mullock. I think he's a Canadian guy, and he's one of the three guys at the beginning of Once Upon a Time in the West who get killed. There's Woody Strode Jack Elam, and then this guy.
Yeah. I don't know.
And during Once Upon a Time in the West, he killed himself. Like on the set of in the hotel, he jumped out of the hotel and like went splat. And Sergio Leone, this is
worked it into the movie.
No, this is a possibly apocryphal story, but the quote from Sergio Leone is that when it happened, like, and they were loading him into the ambulance, he was like, "Get the costume! We need the costume."
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know how true that is, but I think that might be him in this because he's got such a striking Leone close-up face.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so weird because
incredible.
The landscape, you're like, okay, this is a typical beginning shot of a Western movie, right? And it's so weird how he comes up like from the side, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so bizarre.
Yeah, like he pinwheels into frame.
Yeah, like, whoop.
Yeah. And that one, and then the freeze frame on Eli Wallach as he's burst through the window with a giant chicken leg in his hand.
Yeah.
And his
ugly.
Yeah, like chicken skin dangling from his teeth.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so great.
Because they call him the rat sometimes, right?
Well,
and
like that one scene.
He really has with his teeth, yeah. Okay, let's get it out of the way. We've been joking. The great Mexican actor Eli Wallach. I have to reveal something to you guys. He's not Mexican. He's a Jewish guy from New York. Now, we've watched these movies, and this comes up quite a lot. And I just want to say, you shouldn't do that. However, he's probably the greatest playing against race in a movie of all time, and he should be awarded for it. It's okay if you're really good at it. As we know from Tropic Thunder with Robert Downey Jr., given an Oscar nomination. If you're really good at it, you can do whatever you want.
Than once,
I know.
That's in The Magnificent Seven, too. He
plays. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, great. There you go. Well, if you like his performance as Tuco in this movie, in Duck You Sucker, where they tried to get him back for it, and he quit another movie to do it, and then didn't, they went with Rod Steiger, who is also very much not Mexican, and is giving a very committed, even maybe more so than Tuco, with his accent, a extremely whatever Mexico face performance that, again, I have to say is really good. And so if you're really good at it, it's okay. That's the message I just want to get across. Any comment?
I support that message.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Alex is like Lee Van Cleef in this conversation because he just disappeared from it for 20 minutes while Ben and I ranted about Clint Eastwood.
Sorry. Yeah. We had to do it.
Yeah,
we even got most of it out of the way last night on Instagram, just talking about how great Clint is.
I had to do it.
Yeah.
No, good intros. Good intros in this movie, eh?
Yeah.
Iconic. The introduction of all the characters. But you know what the ironic thing is? They're all kind of an ambiguous level of bad.
Yes. They're all greedy.
They're certainly greedy. But even the introduction of the good, Clint Eastwood, he mows down 3 other people who are just trying to do what he's trying to do, which is get the bounty on Eli Wallach.
I think it's a joke. Once the good shows up on screen, you go, "Oh, this is all meaningless. This is a joke."
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very funny. I laughed.
Yeah. It's a funny movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. You're kind of set up to expect something where the 3 characters have a dynamic that suits those titles, right? And it's more that they all are after the same goal and they're all equally amoral. Right?
Right.
But the Eli Wallach performance and Tuco's character is grounded the most in human, real, he feels the most earthy, the most human.
Definitely.
And Clint Eastwood's character is a weird, wandering spirit to me in this movie.
Yeah.
And to me, maybe the strongest element of the visual storytelling is the way that Leone uses landscapes and uses sets in those landscapes to convey this kind of the decay of the Civil War, that the decay that it's wrought upon the landscape and upon the souls of everyone who inhabits it. And these 3 characters are wandering through this bizarre liminal, it almost feels like a strange spiritual realm they're in. It doesn't feel it's obvious it's not America, right? But it doesn't feel like anywhere on earth to me. It feels like hell.
Yeah.
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 It's everything's so dusty Everything's so dirty. You can tell that they make sure to get flies to land on characters' faces in close-ups. You know,
it's an extremely dry movie.
Yeah,
like especially when Tuco is getting his revenge on Blondie, right? Like dragging him around, and
he's so crusty.
He's really crusty. Yeah.
He needs chapstick bad.
Yeah. Thank God that carriage came along with all of the dead people in it.
That was lucky.
That was very lucky for Clint. Yeah.
Jordan, you mentioned something about Tuco being kind of the most grounded. And I do think he's kind of like the core of the film. Like it really is a Tuco movie. There is a moment early on where Blondie is, I think the first time he rescues him from hanging or something like that. And they're listing off the crimes that Tuco's committed.
Yeah.
It is an inhuman level of evil that this man has perpetrated.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there with the noose around his neck, like smiling and nodding.
Yeah. I was paying attention. I was paying attention to this because the first one, it's a bunch of terrible stuff, but they don't say like any sexual assault crimes. The second time they do it, they list 2 of them, and I was like, okay, I was waiting for this.
There's
because
like a racial component to it.
Yes, too. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like rape of someone of the white race. Yeah, it's weird. It's definitely something. Watching all these Leone movies again is like how sexual assault is like used and deployed a lot, and how pretty much every like woman in these movies is like assaulted in some way, and in Once Upon a Time in the West and Once Upon a Time in America, and in Duck You Sucker.
It's at the end of Once Upon a Time in the West where Jason Robards is like, go out there and show your boobs to the guys. They're working hard. They need a little something. Serve them some lemonade.
Yeah, that's the beautiful ending for a character, is like where he's like, like get out there, and he says and if they pat you on the butt, just pay it no mind, like because they'll be so happy to see you, and like that's the nice ending of the movie, is that she goes out there and gives water to all these people coming off the train, and they swarm her like she's the only woman they've seen in years. She's the only woman in the entire giant CinemaScope frame. It's definitely an unpleasant element of these movies. I know, just watching them all together. I mean, by far the most unpleasant is Once Upon a Time in America, which has these two really awful like sexual assault scenes from the Robert De Niro character, who is so dead in that movie. Who is like such a it's really reminding me of The Irishman. Yeah, that's exactly like how he's complete, like almost a complete like non-entity. We can get to that later, but it's just something I wanted to bring up. I don't know if we talked about it in the other movies, but it is an unpleasant element of these movies that I think is also pretty present in a lot of spaghetti westerns I've seen, as opposed to like in westerns in general, but especially in the Italian ones. I don't know. It's
interesting. The Leone spaghetti westerns, I'm trying to think. It's been a long time since I watched Once Upon a Time in the West or Duck You Sucker, but they don't deal with like the indigenous genocide.
No,
in
not
ways
at
that
all.
Typical American westerns, like you watch those and you think you're just gonna have to like grit your teeth and watch some awful scenes of like really racist depictions of indigenous people. Even
in the ones that are, even in like, for example, some of the early John Ford films where it's completely thoughtless and there's no consideration for indigenous people as people at all, and then in the later ones where he's reckoning with it, like whatever, The Searchers or whatever, or there's still extremely racist caricatures in the movies. But you're right.
They trade that for like brutal misogyny,
and I guess to some extent, like most of the Mexican characters are just cannon fodder, basically. Yeah. That's interesting. I had not thought about that, but you're completely right. It's like not at all addressed.
Not at all. There's in for a few dollars more, which I haven't watched in like 20 years or something, but there's an indigenous woman in that bar, or like she's serving people, and there's a word that gets used like that I don't think is considered very appropriate.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, and that's like the only thing in any of those movies,
right?
Which just really sticks out.
Yeah,
because that's pretty atypical. For classic westerns.
I wonder. I think maybe that is just like an American thing, and the Italians just wouldn't necessarily think about it. Although I'm sure there are plenty of spaghetti westerns that are
positive,
very exploitative, and do that. All that nasty stuff.
The Good, the Bad, and the Uglies. Just like going on with Tuco, because I saw you bring this up in your Letterboxd review too. He like, it's so funny to see a scene where like a character in this movie has an emotional confrontation with their family.
Yeah. His brother. I'd completely forgotten about it.
It's beautiful.
Me
it
too.
is. It's very sad. Yeah.
Well,
and then when he and Clint are riding away, and he's like, "Oh well, I know, I always got my brother. He'll always give me a warm bowl of soup." Oh, jeez.
And then Clint Eastwood gives him the cigar, and he gives that big shit-eating grin with the silver tooth, and you get the surf guitar.
Yeah.
Bow, 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 bow.
That's kind of like that's where the intermission would go, if you had to put one in there.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw this movie like when I was a kid with my mom, because we used to watch Westerns together. And then I had like a renaissance of reappreciation for it when I was in university. Like, friend of the pod, past and future guest Sam, claims that I lent him a DVD of it, which is long gone by now. I want my DVD back, though, if that is true, if I owned a DVD of it. So I know I kind of like re-stoked my boner for this movie in university, at least. But I did have a bit of anxiety and trepidation. Like, is this movie going to be is it going to stand as high in my estimation as a grown man as it did when I was a kid, or even in university? Like in university, when you're like a film nerd and you're like, oh, have you seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly? It's actually really good.
Yeah.
But then like as a kid, the scene between Tuco and Pablo, I don't think I ever appreciated, even when I watched it in university,
It's the kind of thing that wouldn't register compared to all of the other more iconic, more action-oriented things, right?
Exactly.
Like when you're younger.
When I was a kid, I
shooting
think
each other into insane cool stuff is like
right? Yeah, it's like we say with Unforgiven, like right? Yeah.
When I was a kid, I would have thought that scene was boring, and that was one of my fears watching it now. I was like, what if it just does feel overlong? But now, first of all, it doesn't feel overlong at all. It rips, for a 3-hour movie. But then I found that scene really emotionally affecting.
When
it's
I
really
was a
sad,
kid, I found that scene like I got embarrassed whenever that scene came on.
Wow.
Because like the rest of this movie is so cool, and then you got to deal with this corny like drama.
Feelings,
yeah. I want to see him like walk into a gun store with the world's like least defensive shop owner. Yeah. And I want to see him build a gun and then just rob the guy. I don't want to see him like have to talk about his feelings.
Yeah, I don't want him to have to deal with his familial trauma or like hear the news that his parents are dead or whatever from his brother.
But it adds such an emotional layer to Tuco that you don't really get with the other two characters.
Yeah.
It just made me appreciate it so much more, and especially appreciate, unfortunately, Eli Wallach's performance.
Well, okay, so I was joking and being glib about that. I do genuinely want to say he is really good at the movie.
He's fantastic.
He's really good in the movie, and it really feels like his movie. Like I know it's the culmination of like the Eastwood trilogy or whatever, and Eastwood is like also incredible in this one. But but like,
I think part of why like what that filmmaker and what they understand in their collaboration together, which just feels kind of like unreal how quickly they got it, was that like Eastwood's presence is otherworldly on screen, right? And so his function in that movie is to be untouchable. Like even when he's being tortured wandering through the desert, compare his torture to Tuco's torture.
Right.
He's screaming, he's bleeding, he's spitting, he's cursing, he's fighting back.
He's getting like his eyes gouged in.
Yeah. Whereas Clint Eastwood just like, okay, we're going to wander through the fucking desert.
Yeah.
And like they walk, his skin starts falling apart. Yeah. And then they go to a field hospital and like,
he bounces right back.
He doesn't put up any fight.
Yeah.
He's like he feels like a strange spirit in the midst of all this chaos and human drama, right? And
well, it feels like he got his movie, right? Like viewing it in terms of a franchise, like you have Fistful of Dollars. That is the most like Man with No Name movie. That's the most like Clint focused. And then it like kind of zooms out in scope and for a few dollars more. And then this one's like even zoomed out even further, right? Where America itself almost becomes a character with that Civil War.
I had always remembered I'd only seen this once a long time ago, probably in early high school or something. And I just remember it. I remember being like, "Oh yeah, that's the Civil War one," and like that backdrop. I guess I don't know if I found that aspect of it interesting, but now like it's the movie. It's the movie, and then that gets expanded in a way in Duck You Sucker with the Mexican Revolution, which is probably his most overtly political and didactic of the movies.
I think part of the way this to me, it's like part of this postmodern scramble of ideology, where in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, like who's good, who's bad, who's ugly, you can give names to all of them, but it actually doesn't feel appropriate for anybody.
Like three sides of the same coin.
Yeah, exactly.
And then as they wander through this landscape where everything's been desiccated, everything feels like it's lost all its potential, and everyone you meet, like people are switching sides based on convenience, right?
There's that great scene that sort of illustrates this with where they're on this is after he shares the cigarette and they're riding off to their glory or whatever, and he's like, hey, I see, they're wearing the Confederate uniforms, and they're like, hey, I see the Confederate guys. They're like, long live General, what's his name, Lee, yeah, and they come off and it's actually Union soldiers
who are
dusty,
yeah,
and the guy just brushes it off and you see the blue, right?
Yeah, and then they take him to them to that POW camp, right? And the guy with gangrene, who's like, he's being very passionate, and and Angel Eyes has worked his way into being an officer at this POW camp, right? Yeah. And again, all this feels like it fits because it feels like everything's been all meaning has been stripped away from everything in this landscape, right? So Angel Eyes, like if he is suddenly a commander in the Union Army, like it doesn't make me, I don't sit there being like, how the hell did this happen? Like, why is he here?
Yeah.
Right. And then the characters immediately recognize him, even though they've never met. They both just go, hey, is that Angel Eyes? Because like you are watching the movie and they're talking to you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that commander's got the gangrene, and he's saying like, I know what goes on in this camp. Like, I know that like you're killing people, you're beating people, you're torturing people.
Yeah, not under my command.
Yeah. And as long as I'm alive, like I'm gonna I'll stop you. And Angel Eyes just looks at him and goes, I wish you luck, and he walks away.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then the ultimate quest is for a shitload of money.
Yeah.
Right. And I think this is just like the simple thesis of the film is like, what is like America mean, right? It's like beyond all pretense of ideology, of right and wrong, of like the Confederacy versus the Union, of good or bad or ugly. Like everyone's after the same thing, which is a big pot of gold.
Yeah.
Right. And the big pot of gold isn't a grave marked unknown.
Yeah. The unknown.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the themes I think are actually quite strong now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I'm saying that like this is all simple stuff. It's like easy to get into on the surface level,
but it's great that it's there.
But it is there. Yeah,
it's there. Yeah, of course. Yeah, And they when they what?
Alex's headphones.
What about them?
Bend. Let me see. Bend your head down. What's it say?
Stanton.
And what's the shape of the headphones?
It's an arch.
Do you remember?
That's
Arch
crazy.
Stanton.
Arch Stanton.
Do you remember when I brought this up like 2 years ago on this podcast?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
And you were all so confused.
Yes.
And I said, one day this will all make sense.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. Listener. If you're not a devoted listener, even if you are, you'll never remember this.
No.
Ages ago when Jordan was on, he looked at Alex's headphones and he saw that they were Stanton brand, and he noticed that all over ear headphones are in an arch, and he said, Arch Stanton, the name of the grave that has the grave beside it full of the gold in Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And we were all like, huh? What?
No, I didn't say that. I just said
you just that's what you were thinking.
What's the name of your headphones?
Arch Stanton.
And what's the shape?
But I must have asked you, what do you mean by that, right?
And I said, you'll find out one day.
Oh wow! Talk about a good payoff, eh?
Yeah, you got to dig that up and play the clip. Run it back. Run it back.
I'm never going to be able to find that.
I'll find it for you.
All right, let me know. Just at the very least, let me know what episode it's in.
Okay.
And I'll try to find it.
Can I note something that is completely off topic, but just kind of...
what topic? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, Wonka. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
What shape are your headphones in? What's this shape?
An upside down U? An arch?
An arch. And what does it say on top of your headphones?
That's a great question.
Just bow your head. We'll tell you. Stanton.
Arch Stanton. Does that mean anything to either of you?
Arch Stanton?
Wasn't that a bad guy in one of the Ant-Men?
If that doesn't mean anything to either of you, I'll just not say anything and wait until maybe months from now. You'll learn why that's interesting.
Arch Stanton?
I hate you, Jordan.
Who can say what that might... How I wonder if it's intentional that they did that they put the word Stanton on an arch.
These are just the shape of all headphones.
Shape of all headphones.
Right, but they said a headphone is shaped like an arch. We should call ours Stanton.
No, Stanton's a company, right?
Yeah,
so who knows what they started
Stanton.
with? Who knows what they started making?
But they decided, let's make an arched object.
No, they were like, let's make headphones and let's adhere to the typical shape of headphones.
Because we're called Stanton.
Let's fucking talk about Wonka.
You have to, before we talk about Wonka, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to anybody who clicked on this and said, oh, gee, I want to hear if Timmy did a good job in Wonka. We're going to get to it. And we're going to be brief. What the fuck do you mean by that?
No, I can't.
No, you have to tell us.
I know that you will discover why.
I'm just Googling.
No,
I'm just Googling it.
Okay.
I don't have time for that. Oh, it's an album. It's an album by Karma to Burn.
Okay, but why they named that album after something that you listen.
Jordan, I don't have time.
I'm
not. What is it? What is it, Ben?
Don't tell him. Don't tell him.
Well, but you're gonna make me Google it.
Doesn't have anything to do with that, does it?
What?
This?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that? Is that part of that movie?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in years.
It's a major detail in it.
Okay.
But
okay. Jordan raises a good point.
Yeah.
Alex, don't look it up.
Don't look it up. You'll learn it.
It's just a reference to a movie that we're going to cover next year, where Jordan is going to be on the show. That's incredible. Okay. Wow.
So it's funny because it's been a long time since I've watched Once Upon a Time in the West, which I think is just brilliant, you know? But I also remember that movie being like, what the hell is happening? It's got like a really confusing plot.
It's discursive.
Yeah. And The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, part of its power is like the simplicity in which it lays all this out.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's a quest, and everyone has a little bit of information, and they have to work together to get this money.
A kid could follow along and have a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I love to when they team up with the Union soldiers and are like running the dynamite to the bridge, right? It's similar to like. It's
so funny when he pulls the cigar away from the box of dynamite. When
he's like,
and he like,
I had never. So the two I had never seen are Colossal Roads and Ducky Sucker. And when I watched Ducky Sucker, I actually watched it before Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and I noticed. In that movie is very much about how, like, this Tuco-esque figure who runs his own family of bandits, ends up kind of teaming up with like a IRA dynamite expert to sort of unwittingly become like a hero of the Mexican Revolution, where he is not like he doesn't care about the cause. He's wants to rob a bank, and when he robs the bank, he finds out, oh, I've been tricked. It's not full of money. It's full of political prisoners. Mm-hmm. They all get released, and they're all like, viva, viva. And he's like, well, like, you're a hero of the revolution now, and it goes from there, right? And similarly, like, they're not on one side or the other of the Civil War. They're out for the gold, right? And when they blow up the bridge and kind of become, these like, they don't become the heroes in the movie, but you can imagine in the history books, like, there's some sort of mention of this, like, in this great battle, right, where they blew up the bridge, and it doesn't have anything to do with them, Well, maybe a little bit, because Clint does have that sort of moment of
he is good.
Yeah, he has that sort of the moment with the Union general, right, who gets wounded, and he's like,
he's a captain,
right? Or captain.
He emphasizes that,
right. And he's like, stay alive a little longer, like keep your ears open or whatever, right? But it's all ultimately to get the bag, right?
I think there's an element of Leone's style that really comes into fruition in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And I mean, I think it's extreme in Once Upon a Time in the West in a good way. I think that's part of the magic of that movie. But it's in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly too, where there's a complete like subjectivity of mise en scène. Things, and once you start noticing it, it's like everywhere, where things that characters ought to be able to see or ought to be able to hear, that ought to be diegetic, are like completely non-diegetic until he wants them to be, right?
Yeah.
And I think of that scene, for example, when Tuco and Blondie are walking down a dirt path towards the canyon, or to the valley where the river is, the river valley, where there's a whole army in front of them, and they don't see it, right? The camera pans over and it's all right there, right? They get like surrounded by guards, two of them from the front, right? They walk in from the front of them, but because they're off camera, they can't see them, right? Yeah. And like that's all over this movie, where like it almost feels like magical realist to me.
Absolutely. Even when near the ending, when Tuco has seemingly learned the information of the name of the grave from Clint and is running off, and Clint's firing cannonballs at him. He's running and running and running, and he kind of stumbles onto the graveyard. But of course, he would have. It's a ginormous
right
graveyard. It's
right before his
massive.
eyes.
Yeah, but I absolutely love that. Like,
or when they're hiding in the foxhole while the bombs are going off all around them. Yeah. And once they get up, it's just an empty landscape. There's nobody there anymore. There's like lots of corpses, but like, did they just hide there for like a day in the same positions? They stick their asses up in the air, and then once they raise their heads, everything around them has changed. It's like surreal in that way. And that, to me, it just like really emphasizes this, like, it feels like they're wandering through a metaphorical hellscape rather than like an attempt to really depict. There's a moment in that scene where he's talking to the captain, and Clint Eastwood's bluffing, and he says he's from Illinois, and it's actually shocking to hear the word Illinois in this movie. Right?
To ground it in some sort of American reality.
Yeah. And then once you start breaking it down on a scene by scene basis, all these little it turns into just like a series of vignettes with like every single one stars. It puts one of these three characters into a dynamic with like a new like character actor delivering like a one scene brilliant little performance, right? And then it always ends with someone gets shot and then delivers a really, really like awesome one-liner. Right. And it's just so like beat by beat, it all unfolds so satisfying and so neatly for being like a 3-hour Western epic, right? And I think in contrast to Once Upon a Time in the West, like why I ultimately like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly more is that simplicity.
Yeah, I think before I had rewatched Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, I had sort of held Once Upon a Time in the West in higher esteem. Maybe just because it has such an epic feel to it, and I think because specifically the beginning, like literally the beginning of the movie and the ending are so perfect, like two of the best sequences he's ever done, like without the music at the beginning and all the sound effects and all the how tense it is.
Very tense.
Then the music comes in with the harmonica and there's Charlie Bronson, and then of course the ending, right, which is like, I mean, if I had to pick like a single sequence, which reminded me a lot of For a Few Dollars More, that with the musical like leitmotif, right? That is it triggers the memory that I kind of miss a little bit in Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, but it's fine with
the Colonel Mortimer character. Colonel Mortimer, right?
Yeah,
that's his name.
Yeah,
he's like the most soulful character in any of these movies.
Definitely,
right?
Yeah, definitely. Even more so than harmonica, because Charles Bronson is kind of a little.
He
doesn't really have a. Yeah, he's kind of
stone face.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have no idea what his motivation is till quite far into the end, near the end of the movie.
Yeah, but the reveal, and how that confrontation is edited too, is maybe the single moment that sticks with me the most. It isn't to say necessarily though that it's better. I do think Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is. I agree with you because of its straightforwardness and its simplicity. Like maybe the ultimate. It's like not a hot take, but the ultimate Leone film, right?
Yeah,
the ultimate Western, possibly.
Maybe. I don't know. I like John Ford a lot.
I like John Ford a lot. I think it's hard for me to separate out just the fact that this is a movie I was so obsessed with when I was younger. To me, it was such a it was my just like that's my favorite movie for so long. You know.
Yeah.
That I would take it over any other Western, I think. And as far
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like Once Upon a Time in the West is kind of like a more mature film with definitely a more like complex plot and situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is just, it's too good of a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. The music too, like holy shit, Ecstasy of Gold is such a killer track.
And then the trio, right? Like it's actually amazing how they just like go right into
one of the most iconic sequences ever.
Yeah, and that okay. I mean, you can talk about Every Frame Painting or whatever. Like this is the kind of movie where there's like never a shot that Clint Eastwood lying at the bottom of a sand dune and Tuco standing framed against the glaring sun, and he tosses the water bottle and it rolls down the dune and he walks down the dune with it. Like it's nutty, right?
Yeah.
The shot in that shootout where the hand is lowering down on the gun across the horizon is like, it to me is like, I had to think about. I remember being young and seeing that shot and being like, have I seen this movie before? Like that image has to come from somewhere else. Like, or is that just like a deeply iconic image that?
Yeah, I was thinking about that too because we all know that shot, like from the whip. From the hip, right?
Yeah.
And the hand coming down to get the gun, and I'm sure it's in some of the John Ford or Howard Hawks movies, right? But
which one? Prove it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. But
it almost feels too obvious to not be in every Western.
Yeah, right.
Isn't that not in every Western? But then you watch them and you go, I guess it's just in The Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
I don't know. Yeah, I was getting like emotional during the final confrontation.
It's so drawn out too. Like,
yeah, and it's just so perfect, like as a piece of cinema. Like no wonder it's iconic the way that it is.
Also, with regard to the like use of like having a subjective mise en scène, the characters are listening to the music. They're waiting for it to end to shoot each other.
Yeah,
right?
it's like the end of For a Few Dollars More, where they are literally listening to the.
But that's diegetically represented by the timepiece.
No, I know what you mean. But it's, similar to how that switches very, very fluidly from diegetic to non-diegetic, but there is a literal representation of it. Like it's grounded. No, you're totally right. They're looking at each other, and the way that the film is edited, obviously to the music, and it really feels like the characters are subjectively like, all right, and a few more bars, and
we gotta wait. And to me, it just like reaches like that kind of willingness to indulge in like it feels surreal. I don't know. To me, once I clock into this stuff with this movie, and this is always how I felt about it, I just start feeling this ecstatic high, like the heights it reaches at the end of that scene of like the level of drama, just with the sheer like, okay, we've got a sequence of cuts, and every single time we go through the sequence, every single shot is just a little bit closer, and it's all cut to the music. I think that is the best. I think it's better than the Ecstasy of Gold sequence, which happens like a scene, which is the immediate scene immediately before it,
right?
Which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
It has one of the best like final act movements in any movie ever, all the way up until the very like ending, where he finally shoots him down and his face lands in like the bag of gold.
Yeah.
And just curses him out as he rides away. Like it's a perfect ending.
Yeah.
It's funny that they do that, like the record scratch covering the swear. Like he's
it's
like, you son
funny.
of a bitch. Yeah. Yeah.
It also feels like it kind of feels like they're kind of like letting you come down after everything that just happened, where it's like, okay, like we're reestablishing this like funny dynamic, this eternal struggle that all these characters are in.
Yeah.
Like you might have just been raised to this ecstatic high, but like ultimately we're making a bit of like pulpy entertainment, right?
Right.
It's just beautiful. I can't say enough about.
Well, what can you say?
It's a classic.
Well, okay, very quickly, I want to do the very quick Sergio Leone ranking. And it's quick because he didn't make very many movies. And the other thing that's quick about it is that almost all of them are really good. Almost all of them are great. Now, I know you haven't listened to the other two, Jordan, but I may have blown my load, so to speak, the gun load a little early, because Fistful of Dollars, when we rank it, it's like, how do you rank it? I was like, I don't know, 5 stars. Like, right? Yeah. Just
I think it's a 5-star.
Yeah. And I was thinking,
I gave it 3.75. Spoilers for you, Jordan.
For a few dollars more was the one I remembered the least. So I was like, well, maybe that one will be kind of the middle, whatever. No, 5 stars.
Surprisingly very good.
Yeah, incredible. And I think it's better than the first one. And then this one is obviously amazing. The best. So, okay, here we go. Chronological ranking. Colossus of Rhodes, Sword and Sandal movie. Director for hire. He'd worked on other movies, but this was his first like actual sole directorial credit. It's pretty bad. I think it's like pretty boring. Rory Calhoun is in it, known only to me from The Simpsons joke.
A couple of Rory Calhoun.
Standing on your hind legs like a couple of Rory Calhouns. Who's that actor who's always standing up?
Smithers, look. He's standing up. I've never seen anything so adorable. You know who it reminds me of?
Benji?
No.
Lassie?
No. A person. You know who I mean.
Snoop Doggy Dogg? Bob Barker? David Brenner?
No. The person who's always standing and walking.
Rory Calhoun?
That's it.
Rory Calhoun. It's such a weird non sequitur. And now I see him and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. He's kind of like a Troy McClure kind of actor. He's boring. The movie has a giant Colossus of Rhodes where they fight in it, which is cool. But so okay, Colossus of Rhodes. I'm sorry, C tier. All right. Fistful of Dollars, S tier. For a few dollars more, S tier. Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, S tier. What's after that? Once Upon a Time in the West, S tier.
Yeah.
Duck You Sucker, which is the other one I hadn't ever seen before. I really liked it.
It's great.
It's really good. It feels like he loved so much the Tuco character and the dynamic between him and Blondie, but he also loved the Jason Robards character in Once Upon a Time in the West. And, I think Robards maybe turned it down or wasn't available, so they got James Coburn, who's really good. And now, James Coburn's doing a really shaky Irish accent, and then Rod Steiger is doing a, big Mexican performance in it. They're both really good, and their dynamic is incredible. And there's this kind of the flashback to reveal the IRA guy's kind of troubled history and maybe why he had to leave Ireland is really well done too. And there's also a bit of homoeroticism in it that's at the very end where you're like, okay, well, I see. There's because they have that sort of buddy, this not really homoerotic, but there's a light dusting of it that is then revealed in a Challengers-esque flashback back in Ireland, which I also really appreciated. The music, I think, is really good in that as well, and I think pretty underrated compared to the more iconic scores in all the other movies Morricone did. This one, obviously, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly being the most iconic, right? But I would really suggest everybody watch that. I don't think it's quite as good as the other ones. I'll put it in the A tier because it's very good. And then his last movie that he made many years later, Once Upon a Time in America, which you haven't seen, right, Alex?
No, never.
But you've seen Jordan before.
Yeah,
was one. When that DVD came out, that was like, this is the proper version, because before that there is no home video version of the original American cut where they took out, it's a 3.5 hour long, almost 4 hour long movie, and they cut it down to 2 hours. And the movie is told in a relatively complex flashback structure that they completely removed. So it's all chronological and, from childhood to old age. And I can't imagine, like, the movie must be shit.
Famously incomprehensible.
Famously incomprehensible and reviled, and nobody liked it. This version, though, I just love it. Like, it's, starts with the 30-something-year-old De Niro kind of on the run, escaping in an opium den and just getting so fucking high. And then the rest of the movie is his pipe dream. And the end of the movie is him, even though you see flash forwards into the 1960s when he's an old man, and it's very Irishman kind of coded, as they say. You end with him getting high and laughing, and the movie, even just like the first 30, 40 minutes are so like oniric and have that the flow of this like hazy pipe dream memory. I don't know. I've loved that movie. It's brutal. Like I say, you know, he's an awful character. He's a violent rapist, misogynist, like kind of not a psycho in the same way that the character in The Irishman is like kind of has a detached sort of psychotic.
He's like
sociopathic. Yeah. In this one, he's just kind of like not really, you can tell like there's just something kind of wrong with him, because there's this traumatic moment in childhood where his friend is killed in front of him, and he stabs this guy and goes to like juvenile hall for like however many years, comes out as old Robert De Niro, right? And he's never really like the same as he is when he's this kid, right? And it's this epic like of betrayal, and James Woods is, kind of fakes his death, and right, it becomes this like influential senator guy or whatever. And anyway, it's a great movie. I was really impressed watching it again. Like obviously it's compared to the other gangster epics of the time, like Godfather and whatever else, but I'm not going to necessarily say it's better than The Godfather, but it feels like The Godfather, The Godfather 2, parts of The Godfather 3, and The Irishman all together kind of in one epic movie. But it's still so like Leone, like, in the good and the kind of more cartoonish elements of it, it's like very ludicrously violent. It's just, and as a final film, like it's just a beautiful kind of final statement on like whatever American greed and so on. Yeah. So.
I kind of think it's the sort of movie it with its ambition and what it achieves narratively. Mm-hmm. The fact that he made it gives so much depth to his, like, what you can see in his skill as a filmmaker.
Absolutely.
It's almost like if Bruce Springsteen only made his first 7 albums, the fact that Nebraska's in there gives the rest of it so much contour and depth.
Absolutely.
Like, even though Darkness is better, and The River, and Born in the USA, and Born to Run are all better than Nebraska, the fact that it exists is like, you can look, it gives you so much perspective to look at the rest of it with. Yeah. And like, if Leone had never made Once Upon a Time in America, he would still have gone down as a great filmmaker. Mm-hmm. But I think like the fact that he could achieve something like that tells you so much more about what he's doing in the rest of his movies.
Yeah,
and how skilled he is.
Absolutely. Like you're talking about with Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Like, for example, the surface pleasures are all there, but and the themes, while maybe relatively upfront or simplistic, are very powerful. And I think maybe some of the contemporary critic reviews of the time were like, well, this is famous Ebert, right? Yeah, just cliches and violence, and it's just stupid, and it's just like there's nothing really going on. And obviously that's wrong, and you don't need Once Upon a Time in America to reveal that actually he is a thinking man's director, a political director, a thoughtful director. But you're right. It absolutely, as the final film of a career, like fills in all of that context or whatever.
You wouldn't watch The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly or Once Upon a Time in the West and think this is a filmmaker who'd make a gangster epic that is like batting in the same ballpark as The Godfather.
Right. Yeah.
But he does.
He does. Yeah. Oh, and so S tier. Okay. So all of them are in the S tier. Docu-Sucker in the A tier, and Colossus Road C tier, whatever. But an amazing filmography, partly because it's brief. Like John Ford made however many 5-star classics, but he made like a bajillion movies, so they're not all going to be good. But the one thing that I forgot about Docu-Sucker is that it opens with a quote, Mao quote.
so awesome.
It's fucking about revolution, and like the inherent like need for violence in the revolution, and like the movie is pretty cheeky about like revolutionary politics, and is made in like whatever the mid to late 60s, right, when that was like something people were like very aware of and in their day to day. But it's awesome. it's awesome, and that I think that movie really also fills in the Dollars Trilogy a lot in terms of maybe some of the that he's like a thinking man's director in some sense, despite all of the very like easy pleasures of the movies with the gunfights and the killing and the awesomeness, right?
I'll just say briefly, it is very funny to read the 2 Roger Ebert reviews. The first, I think he gives it like 3 stars.
Yeah, I think so.
The first time, and then but then like after it's been canonized, puts it in his great movies book and says, I should have given this 4 stars.
Yeah.
And it's just like, he has so many of those where he's kind of like hedging his bets because the way that all the spaghetti westerns were received was like, oh, these are like really violent and pretty dumb and like degrading our culture. Right. And I think he didn't want to go against the grain of that thinking. Right. And I always find that funny. I'll also just say, do any of us think that this isn't like a sequence where each film is better than the other? Is the series ranking?
So let's rank it. Yeah.
I think it's safe to say we all give the movie 200,000 gold coins out of 200,000 gold coins.
Yeah. Not a coin less.
To me, it does go. I think it's actually the first time in pod history that for me it goes 3-1, like Fistful of Dollars for a few dollars more, and then The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly on top. Like, I think it actually gets better as the franchise goes along. But I will say that for a few dollars more, really surprising. I don't think it's like that much worse than The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I think it's a very good film too. A great film that I liked more than Fistful of Dollars. But I think The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, for personal reasons, for just pure, iconography, is like on a whole other level of perfection.
Yeah, I agree. The one I was the most surprised by was For a Few Dollars More, just because that was the one I had the least memory of, and realizing like, wow, this is like an incredible movie. But I'm not going to rank it above Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I think they're all kind of on the same level, but I do think Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is the best. And just in terms of like his evolution of his directorial style, like you can see it so strongly through the progression of the films. So I'd have to put, like you said, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly #1, For a Few Dollars More, and then Fistful of Dollars. Yeah.
It's almost like video game progression, like video games typically get better further in the series because they refine the gameplay or whatever, whereas like everything else,
the Halo 3 of this franchise.
It kind of is, yeah. Although that metaphor doesn't quite stack up because I think I prefer Combat Evolved to 2.
Oh wow.
Right.
Although Halo 2, much like For a Few Dollars More, takes an iconic protagonist and gives him a foil.
Absolutely, with the Arbiter.
There you go. Interesting.
Chief Cleef is the Arbiter.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I actually liked For a Few Dollars More the best because I liked the emotion of the ending shootout.
Yeah.
And I liked that it had... I want to see Clint Eastwood in his poncho. And the fact that we didn't even talk about this. Good, Bad, and the Ugly is a prequel, right?
Well, they're not... I mean,
it is a prequel.
Well, but to what? Like...
He gets... Well... Okay, so in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, he's completely amoral.
Right.
In A Fistful of Dollars, he begins it as amoral and learns that he has like he fights for something by the end of that movie.
Yeah.
And For a Few Dollars More, he actually makes a friend.
Right. You mean
that's the progression of the character
in a thematic sense?
But it's a prequel in the sense that he's like he gets his clothes in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Right, but not.
I mean, it's a prequel. Like Sergio Leone was making a prequel.
Sure. Yeah. But Angel Eyes is not Colonel Mortimer.
No.
Yeah.
No, and what's the name of the actor who plays the bad guy in the first two?
Oh yeah, Giancarlo whatever.
Esposito.
Giancarlo Esposito, yeah. No, he is. So yeah, and if there's one thing missing from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, I do really like that actor.
He's amazing.
Especially in the second one as El Indio.
More, yeah.
The most awful, violent, terrible bandit in the world who feels pretty bad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
good to mention.
But yeah, I think each one is a five-star movie. And just in terms of the confidence as a director, like the leaps he takes from Fistful to For a Few Dollars More to Good, Bad, Ugly as a director, as a storyteller, I think. Mm-hmm. And I think it really just speaks to like what a magical collaboration he had with Clint Eastwood. I think like finding each other allowed them, and like establishing their style together kind of allowed them to explore to the depth that they do, to where The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is like a masterpiece and is like so full of lyricism and poetry, and is also like a meat and potatoes Western where people shoot each other and then say, badass stuff was Clint Eastwood's like holding a kitten and he's like, every gun makes its own tune. Like shit like that is all over this movie. It's awesome, right?
Two kinds of people in this world: people with a loaded gun and people who dig.
Yeah. You want to shoot, don't talk.
Good. Yeah, oh, that's great too.
Yeah.
You do see Tuco's ass in that scene, very briefly. Yeah.
See you soon, idiots.
Yeah,
it's for you.
It's for you. Yeah.
Awesome.
Like, we are guilty of waxing about Clint Eastwood, his career as an actor, director, blah blah blah. And it's not
me,
not you. Sorry, it's not the last time we're
juror
going
number
to.
poo.
Yeah, okay. We're gonna do it again because of course we'll be doing Dirty Harry eventually. Of course we'll be doing every which way.
Everyone
but
assumes.
Any which way but can. Whatever.
All right, let's introduce the new French.
All I want to say is, like at the end of Unforgiven, when it says for Sergio and Don, we haven't talked about Don Siegel. We will at some point, but we have to thank Sergio for creating Clint Eastwood, and we wouldn't have in a lab. We wouldn't have all of those films we love so much. The 1517 to Paris, Richard Jewell. I'm not joking.
I think you're serious.
I'm being genuine.
Also, like Clint Eastwood is a smart and observant technician who like worked with great directors and learned from them clearly, right? We would not have,
knock on wood, he's still alive. He's very old. I want him to make one more movie, but one of the greatest living American filmmakers, we would not have that legacy and those works of art without Sergio Leone. So pour one out.
And I think also, sorry, I know we're going along and just talking about Clint Eastwood being good.
We're wrapping it up.
You better.
We're wrapping it up.
I mean, I think this is so in juror number 2. It's in Richard Jewell. Like, he puts America on screen in a non-judgmental way that is also like deeply nuanced, and it's just the power of art, right? Because if you watch Clint Eastwood like express himself in an interview, he's like an idiot. But if you watch him express himself as like a filmmaker, he's, I think, capable of so much complexity and generating so much to think about. Yeah. Right. And he learned that shit because he
worked with some of the best. Yeah, absolutely.
I think it goes all the way back. I agree.
It definitely does. Yeah. All right. Well
said.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Jordan. It'd been a long time, and I don't know. I like talking to you about movies, not just about Clint, but I especially like talking about Clint. You know that.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. All right.
Well,
this is my favorite. This is what we're doing next. Dun 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 dun.
Should you choose to accept this French or not?
Dun 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 dun. No. Mission Impossible. That's right. We're doing all 8 of the Mission Impossible movies. The 8th one is coming out.
The next 2 months of our lives.
The formerly titled Dead Reckoning Part 1, which is now just called The Final Reckoning.
Awful title.
It's stupid. But I don't know. I love these movies. I think they're really fun. Many of them, almost all of them, are really stupid. Tom Cruise is in them, and he's insane, as we all know. I'm so excited to watch them again. I mean, it's really hasn't been that long since I watched. When we went to go see the newest one, I think I watched all of them before that. So what is that, like how many? Like 3 years ago? 3 years ago? Anyway,
that wasn't your first Mission Impossible movie? You watched all of them before that?
No. I mean, I rewatched them all. So I've gone through the franchise a couple times, and So
besides the last one that's coming out, your franchise ranking is already pretty set in stone.
That's the thing, though. It's not. People talk about it all the time online, like, oh, this one's obviously the worst, and you're an idiot if you like. Usually people say Mission Impossible 3. But, people are like, 1 De Palma, like that was and then
it's kind of hard to rank.
It's hard.
A handful of them have really unique and particular strengths.
Yeah. I think when you get to 4 and the rest, there's a sameness. Yeah. But 1, 2, and 3 are so different. I mean, in a way, 2 will always be one of my favorites because it's the one that I saw when I was like a kid and was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I want to get long hair and ride a motorcycle. But God, I don't know. These episodes will be fun. They'll be stupid. We're going to have guests on. I'm sure Jordan will be back.
I would love to do 2 because it's directed by Hong Kong genius
Everyone
John
wants
Woo.
to do 2.
Yeah,
I got like 5. Okay, 2 we're going to have to do an open air.
Do a live episode.
2 we're going to have to do a live episode. Do you want to do a live episode for Mission Impossible 2?
Absolutely not.
No, just with our friends and well-wishers.
How do we do a live episode?
I don't know. We just have to have it in a room.
Do it at the Imperial Pub in their back room.
Yeah.
We could. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
You know it's not going to happen. You're looking at me, but you know that's not going to happen.
I can get this to happen. Oh, you mad at me because I can make this happen?
Okay, listen. We're gonna do those. They're gonna be great. Yeah. What can we say? They're all classic.
They're all going to be 3-star movies from Al.
What would you tell Sergio if he was here today?
Like, thanks for the memory.